6:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, JP producing, broadcasting live from the 180 Pro studio. Not your IT provider, your IT partner, 180pros.com. We're starting you off at 61 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Heck of a lot of fog out there, not unlike yesterday. If you can, by all means, budget yourself a little extra time when you're driving to work this morning. Let's stay safe out there. All right, we got a big show lined up for you today. We've got attorney Franz Borghardt in for Legally Served. We've got State Representative Dixon McMakin. Not talking about state business. We're going to talk about city business, specifically Thrive EBR. Could it have been handled differently? What would have changed minds and votes on this? We'll kind of do a little unpacking with Dixon. We're going to talk with Matt Moscona in our 7 o'clock hour as well. Hey, we're following planes, y'all. That's where we're at with the head coaching search. We're all on flight aware and we're tracking. We'll also talk with Metro Councilman Aaron Moak about the budget and David Cresson about carbon capture. Right now, though, we start you off with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Number 5 starts us off up at Southern University, where the Southern University Marching Band was named a finalist for the ESPN HBCU Band of the Year, according to HBCU Game Day. 2 Division I schools, Southern's Human Jukebox and Florida A&M's Marching 100 were selected. There were also 2 Division II bands, Miles College's Purple Marching Machine and Fayetteville State University's Marching Bronco Express. The final competition takes place at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia on December 12th.
Number 4.
The city of Central is taking on a major neighborhood road overhaul, launching an 11.7-mile rehabilitation project that includes new pavement, updated speed limits, and redesigned street signs. Mayor Wade Evans said the goal is to shift away from the previous approach of fixing 1 or 2 streets at a time and instead complete entire neighborhoods in a single coordinated effort. As of this week, the city has milled out about half of the project, including work in the Tanglewood area.
Number 3.
An East Baton Rouge Parish School System employee was arrested on child sex charges yesterday. Michael J. Dozat, 63 years old, was booked for computer-aided solicitation of a minor and indecent behavior with juveniles. Louisiana State Police confirmed the arrest, saying they conducted an undercover online operation. Dozat arrived at a predetermined location to, he got caught Dateline style.
Number 2.
State Representative Chad Brown is becoming the commissioner of the Louisiana Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control under Governor Jeff Landry. Brown, a Democrat who represented Plaquemine, is expected to resign from his seat, take the position. The Louisiana House website currently lists his seat as vacant. Not the last of the shakeups we're going to hear about this week in the state government.
Number 1.
Mayor's office makes a statement. If there's going to be cuts, the top brass is not immune. Charlie Davis, Chief Efficiency Officer, Bill Sherman, Communications Director, Fallon Brown, Press Secretary, and Cindy Raby, Operations Director for the City Parish's satellite office in North Baton Rouge, were all laid off on Monday. Cuts to other city parish divisions are expected after the first of the year.
Well, 427-1, the vote to release the Epstein files cleared the House floor yesterday.
And you knew the one was going to come from Louisiana, didn't you?
That's right.
Who was going to be the one?
I know.
Sorry, it's Clay Higgins, by the way.
It is.
If you didn't know anybody, it's Clay Higgins. We get to wear that ring of when you look at historic votes in our Congress, that one sticking out, that was a Louisianan.
Of course. Yep. Should we dig deeper or just move on?
He put out a statement talking about the victims' safety and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what about justice? You
That's
know,
right.
As if you're looking to protect victims, then what about justice?
I think protecting them more is saying, hey, these guys are still on the loose.
Well, yeah. Then there's that.
You know?
Yeah.
I hope you guys talk about this in Legally Served. Right? You'll touch on it just a little bit.
We might. I don't know.
Just a little.
I'm here for you guys.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
we
what I'm
talk
talking
about the sun, the moon, the stars.
Well, so from a legal perspective, this list revealing all this stuff does nothing right now. Well, we'll talk about what it takes to get from public scrutiny to legal scrutiny.
Good stuff.
Okay, I'm just gonna say I've been you've known me for a while. I've been a champion of like body camera and transparency,
Yeah.
but I'm also not a big fan of disclosing a bunch of stuff prior to an arrest, prior to the prosecution, prior to a
Ooh.
trial.
Mm.
I don't know that we're entitled to that system at the cost of due
Ooh.
process. And
All right, we're gonna
Yeah.
reconfigure the
Yeah.
structure of today's
like that.
legally served because I like where this is going a lot better.
For
All
sure.
right.
All right. Well, parts of the internet appear to have stopped working yesterday amid a technical problem at Cloudflare.
So it wasn't us.
No.
Okay, so backstory
Which is
here.
good.
No, backstory here.
And
We
terrifying
did
at
our
the same
best. We did our best on the show yesterday to be a duck on the water, right?
Yes.
You look smooth on the surface, but in the background, a lot of flapping and paddling going on.
Yes.
There were multiple segments of yesterday's show where we kind of had to fly blind because the prep was online and the prep was at a website up to and including My Atomic Clock, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything.
So good.
It's dangerous, man. Dangerous. Where this affects so much of the internet, right?
Mhm.
It's insane. 22%, I believe they were saying in ABC
Well,
News.
the healthcare guy we had on yesterday,
Yeah.
his home website, it was out.
Oh.
So yeah, just that was another example of it going on.
In other news, according to a new poll, 40% of respondents say they are banning political talk at the Thanksgiving table this year. 30% aren't allowing talk about money, and half of millennials say they're sitting at the kids' table so they won't have to answer why they're not married.
that's where I sit.
At the kids' table.
Kids table. We have something in common. We're all not married.
It's where the kids are sitting at the adult table asking the adults, why were you married so often?
I am
so many times?"
childish. I am childish. I have a small attention span, and I'm not married. I belong at the kids' table.
Oh, man.
How do you stop political talk?
You
at the
can't.
Thank you.
There's no
You
way.
can't.
Thank you.
There's no
What are you
way.
going to tell mom to shut up? Shut your hole, mom. That's
Right.
not going to work.
Right. And it's
Get
gonna
back to
map out.
basting that turkey, Mom. I
It's
don't want to
gonna
hear it.
map out the same way at every household
Right.
around the country. Aunt Cheryl's gonna say something.
Man, this side dish worked about as good as the Thrive tax worked out, mom.
Right.
Good job, coach.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's not going to, no.
I don't know. I would think around the table is where you could have an educated talk about politics, religion, and the like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, a lot of drinking going on.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a little more lax. You know.
I don't think so. I don't think
Maybe
so.
a good call.
Have you
then.
seen, side note, but relevant, have you seen the Saturday Night Live sketch Thanksgiving where they're the Adele song
Yes.
and they're fighting, and every
Yeah.
time they
It's-
start fighting,
all
they
come
play
back
the.
and sing.
Yeah, that's
right.
what we need.
Yeah.
It's good. I like that. I like that reference.
We are due up for a quick break. Tell you what, in order to stay on time, we're gonna go ahead and take that break now. We come back. LSU men's basketball was at it last night, and they were impressive. Also, we're looking ahead to the Saints. Can Tyler Shuck put together a second win? That's coming up next. Tulane's in the playoff as of now.
So speaking of political talk in an area that I have really no business talking about, I do not blame the mayor. I do not blame the mayor for the Thrive tax not passing, considering all taxes across the board pretty much failed, not just in Baton Rouge, but everywhere. So is it really his fault? No, I don't think so.
Ascension Parish and West Baton Rouge Parish both said yes to new millages.
I thought they failed. I thought they were failing.
Livingston Parish has failed.
This is why I need to just stay in
St.
my lane.
Tammany Parish passed.
And it's true, by the way. I am.
Kimberly says you need a dating show.
No, that would be a disaster. That would be fun for everybody except me. The broken bachelor.
Oh, man.
Not the golden one, the broken one. The dysfunctional bachelor.
Oh, man.
We could film it in Denham Springs.
There we go.
If you are from Denham Springs and watching, I apologize and love you.
Dude, I'm from Denham Springs. and
I
I'm
love
listening
you.
to right now.
I love you.
Cut 1.6.
Anywhere in Livingston Parish would be a. All right, 1.6. Not from Denham Springs, by the way.
You just lived there, so it was
It's
a
a
choice.
transplant.
It was a choice for you.
It's a choice.
In a way, I have more sympathy for people that were born there and just never jailbroke out. Actually, Denham Springs is not.
Like, hey, I'll move there.
There's nothing wrong with Denham Springs. Now,
No,
if you
it's
told me
funny,
you're
it's
from
funny.
Walker,
The closer you get to Livingston.
look, I live in Baton Rouge. It's like a step above Compton.
Oh man, no. Come on, man.
Do you ever feel like you ever seen the movie Training Day?
Yes.
Do you ever feel like when you're driving in Baton Rouge, it's like Training Day?
So good.
Just those two. 1.3, 1.6 and 2.3.
2 points. Okay.
And then we got cuts 16 and 17 from LRN.
Got it. Yep, already got those cuts. Let's see.
Can you come in a stapler, please?
It's a swing line stapler.
Thank you. .617 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Landmark Bank, landmarkbankla.com. That's the website, landmarkbankla.com. Founded in 1897 as a community bank. Here in 2025, about to roll into 2026, they remain a community bank. Don't just have a bank, have a banker, a member of your community. And by the way, which communities we're talking about here, go to landmarkbankla.com, hit the About tab. You'll see the locations, you'll see the hours. It's important to have a banker helping guide you through whatever it is you've got with your personal banking, whether you want to borrow, plan for the future, invest, retirement stuff, that they can handle all that and have a better grasp of where you need to be rather than the products that they're selling. And on the business side, I don't even have to tell you, small business owners, you know the value of the local banker. LandmarkBankLA.com. LSU men's basketball was at it last night, and they look good. It was against Alcorn State, but do post up a 107-81 win on the night. Led in scoring by Mike Nwoko, who had 29 on the night, including this sweet little alley-oop in the first half.
Back up top, McKinnon. McKinnon with 6 on the shot clock to Tamba. Nice outlet pass in the corner. Thomas's three won't go. Sutton comes flying in, tries to tap it up. It won't fall. Rebound, though, picked up by Thomas, and the lob to Nwoko slams it down. 48-40 LSU.
Chris Blair on the call on the LSU Sports Radio Network. You heard the lob by Thomas. That was one of his 6 assists. DJ Thomas had 16 points on the night as well. Also with 16 points on the night was Markel Sutton, who, of his 16 points, these were 3 of them right here.
Markel Sutton, who takes the inbounds, launches a 3 and nails it down from the right corner. Sutton with the triple, and it's 68-57.
LSU would win the first half by 6 points, win the second half by another 20 to go into a 107-81 victory on the night. That is LSU's 4th victory. They're 4-0 to start off the season. They will next play, I believe they're up again on Thursday night, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, coming up on, Friday night, the 21st, 7 p.m. versus Omaha is when LSU next plays. Meanwhile, the Saints look to win 2 straight as they host the Falcons this Sunday. Tyler Shuck coming off his first career win. Head coach Kellen Moore says the rookie is operating at a very high level.
The operation feels really clean. I think some of the things that showed up was make some plays on some hard downs. And I think that's credit to Tyler and these guys on offense of making some plays, 3rd downs, red zone, 2-minute drives. Those are hard situations and those can be challenging. And so for him to make some big time plays in that, obviously credit to those guys. They extended drives and created some points.
Good news, bad news for the Saints. They're going to be going up against a backup quarterback on Sunday. Michael Penix Jr. had a potentially season-ending injury. Bad news is the backup is Kirk Cousins, who's really no backup. 620 at Talk 107.3 FM. Here's the Fox Business Report. Do you still need Abby to babysit tomorrow night?
I will confirm that. I failed to ask you and Christy about that, but I did talk to her about it at church. If Shannon can watch him, no, but I don't know. He has basketball practice, so I'm teaming. And so the teaming goes from 6:30 to 8:30 at different, like Jake John Vene and all that. And I left him by himself last week, and it didn't go well. Like, he just freaked out. So I'll let you know. I would like to when she's ready to babysit, I would like to break her in. And I mean that in a non.
I know what you mean.
You know who's a good babysitter? Altazan's middle daughter, or middle child, the younger daughter. She's actually pretty good.
Okay. She's a year younger than Abby.
She's not your oldest. She's not Rachel Schroeder. Man, I lost 2 good babysitters when those 2 went to college.
Yeah. Good morning, Christy. Oh, by the way. Is it hot as balls in here, or did I just not sleep last night?
I'm just going through the change. It happens to men our age. Going through the change. Menopause. Torch.
Mm-hmm.
I need to find out who my representative is at the legislature. Wait, what? I need to find out who my legislative representative is. I'm in mid. I'm sure that's pretty. No. I'm pretty sure it's easy to find out.
I'm about 80% sure you're in Dixon's district.
No, he's an Aloysius guy. You sure about that?
Hang on.
It's a weird cut.
I-12 westbound out by Range Avenue is where you're going to find your only interstate delays this morning. It's slow going right around the off-ramp, on-ramp for 12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. Picks back up again before the river. Slows back down again after O'Neill just a little bit. On I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish, we're always good there. 10 eastbound coming across the river looks good. I-110 looks good as well. Surface streets, look out for an accident that's been moved off the roadway. That would be Burbank at Arlington Creek Center Boulevard, kind of by Ben-Hur. Got an accident and this is from about 15 minutes ago. Green Oak and McGehee. That's McGehee at Florida, I guess would be a better way to put that. And then I'm showing on my map here, but I'm not showing why. A delay on, nope, it's gone. Never mind. Ignore me. That has been cleared up from the map, so I will get rid of it. That's really good traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. .624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time as we do every Wednesday to get a look at the legal side of the headlines. That means a little legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt. What'd you say, Franz?
You ever go shopping on Facebook Market?
I have been, yes. I've done more selling than buying, though.
They've got some really good cypress wood pieces and furniture. If you're looking, they've got really good pricing on cypress.
Yeah.
Antique.
Okay. So
almost one might even say relic.
You want to start with the Clay Shack Snyder
We can
story.
start wherever you want to start, man. I'm here for you. I'm here for the people. It's whatever.
Okay, let's go ahead and start with the Clay Scheck-Snyder story then. That's fine. Former Speaker of the State House, Clay Scheck-Snyder, arrested on Monday for allegedly stealing a Cypress relic, which, if you've ever seen this thing, I mean, what it took to fasten it to a wall was ridiculous. It would take 4 guys to haul this anywhere.
So we're agreeing that he's not going to be the one lifting it off the legislative wall and like putting it in his truck and leaving.
Right.
It's going to require some effort.
Yes, this would
This is
require
not
a lot
like
of
the
effort.
Louvre heist.
No, this is not like the Louvre heist. No, not at all. This is, I mean, it may be like the Louvre heist, just with a lot more manpower behind it.
I want you to do the background because I've got some questions and thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have thoughts.
Okay, so the background is that our former Speaker of the State House is accused of stealing an antique relic, a Cypress relic that belongs to the state. It's this ginormous, like, which it's basically a sign because it's got a huge quote on it. It's not like this. It's this big piece of cypress you could turn into a coffee table.
I think the word relic is an issue for the trier of fact, but okay.
Okay, well, that's the word that was used to describe it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to go off.
Lawyers will use words all the time and start calling the sky green. Doesn't mean it's green. But keep going.
Well, anyway, nobody seems to know where this thing is.
Okay.
And therefore,
it was in his legislative office.
Correct.
And when we say legislative office, we mean in his district. Not
correct.
In the legislature.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And when he left office, either he didn't take it with him, he took it with him, or it was inherited by the next legislature.
That's the part
These are all questions, right?
This is the part that I still don't know about is like does the next state legislator have to take over the same district office?
And prosecution, it was an arrest, but not an arrest by law enforcement. Prosecution was instituted by Attorney General Liz Murrell through grand jury.
Yes, in fact, that's what I'm trying to pull up right now.
Right.
About
She went to the grand jury. Her office went to the grand jury. They didn't do a quote unquote normal law enforcement arrest. And by the way,
now I've got it here. Here we go.
So I've been asked this question: is it usual to hop over law enforcement to immediately go to grand jury without that underlying arrest? And the answer is yes and no. On the one hand, I will defend her. On the one hand, the AG's office does have an investigative component to it, where there are individuals that do investigate. It is not the norm, but it's not irregular. If that she can do it.
Okay. So I finally found the press release. Here we go. AG Myrtle's office procures indictment for former House Speaker Clay Scheck-Snyder over missing rare Louisiana State artifact. Excuse me. I said
Artifact.
Relic. It's artifact. After an investigation by the Louisiana Bureau of Investigation, a grand jury returned a true bill indictment for Scheck-Snyder. He is charged with count 1, felony theft of $25,000 or more. Count 2, malfeasance in office. Quote, "You don't get to keep state property. It doesn't belong to you," said Attorney General Liz Murrell.
So my first question is how many prosecutions is her office currently handling of prosecuting current or former state employees for, quote, keeping state property? That's question number one. You can ask her that next time you talk to her.
Yeah.
Number two, what makes this smell funny, what makes this a political maneuver prosecution is that second count. Because
malfeasance in office?
Felony theft or malfeasance, either one would have been sufficient. It's that extra oomph. It's not like he's running for office or anything right now.
So, okay, as someone who's not a lawyer, and he might be running for another office in the future, that's always a possibility.
Right.
But as someone who's not a lawyer, I'm curious as to how you can have malfeasance in office that's not malfeasance in office until after you're out of office. As long as he was the speaker,
at the
that
time
is a state office.
So the issue I have is this, and this is where the rubber meets the road, and this is why I'm irritated at this.
Okay.
You absolutely hear what I said. If you want to go after him for malfeasance, for the theft, the alleged theft, or possession of a stolen thing, or unauthorized use of a movable, any of those would have worked. But you charge him with the malfeasance, and the underlining malfeasance is that other crime. Charging him with both is what makes it smell dirty.
Okay, that's where we're going to pick it up after news, traffic, and weather, which is coming your way right now on Talk 107.3.
Kim writes, why would you steal that? It's kind of a frat move, Kim. Sometimes we take things that don't belong to us because, it's a frat move. There used to be a statue at LSU in the Union, and it was affectionately called the boob statue. It was a wooden statue, and it was like a woman facing 3 different directions, and she had breasts. This thing is massive. Not necessarily artistically awesome, but it was the boob statue. And I will tell you, some of my friends, not I, because I'm not a thief. Some of my friends had occasionally commented on how good would it be to have the boob statue in your living room, right? It's that kind of a theft, Kim. If it is, in fact, a theft. You know, our boy Rocco was selected to be on a court recently for Crew of Carnival. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that.
Shout out to Rocco.
Who's he rolling with on that one?
There's some other people we know. I've never been. Franz Borghardt's never been on a court. I would be happy just being a Duke.
I'm trying to think of who is. Why am I blanking on the name there?
It's okay. They're not probably as important as Rocco. So, yeah. Now, you've been on a Mardi Gras Royal Court, right?
No.
For some reason, I thought Toth.
No, I was a member of the crew with Zeus.
Ah. I do want you to ask her, though, how many state prosecutions does she currently have in her office?
Yeah, odds are I'm not going to have her on about this topic.
Well, no. But I would be willing to do this. I'll tell you what. I'll buy the Attorney General lunch if it's more than 5. If it's more than 5, which is a very low number, considering the amount of theft that happens with the state or lost stuff, I'll buy her lunch. I'll buy her Ruth's.
You know what? You might be Paula Davis.
Oh, yeah, my girl Paula. Shout out to Paula Davis. She works out next to my coffee shop. I go to Brouhaha, that little gym that's, I think I should. When Paula retires, I think I'm going to run. I mean, you can be broken and
Wait
be.
a minute. No, you're not.
Is it, what's her name? Not Paula. It's
Goodwood. What street is it? That's Sherwood Forest.
Wakefield. You want to look up Wakefield?
I don't want to look up Wakefield. I want to look up Terra Boulevard. Is Cora? No, she stops at Airline.
So is it Dixon?
That's Florida. How did we get back on Florida? Independence. Sorry, you are Paula Davis.
Yeah.
Barely.
I'm not even close to being Paula Davis.
The other side of Goodwood is that, like, Goodwood's the divider line right there.
I'd get 1 term. I would get 1 term as a legislator. The sound bites would be epic. You know how like Kennedy makes sound bites? Yeah, like that. It'd be like that, only, less foghorn leghorn.
Foghorn Leghorn's a character. That he's
Is that
smart-
him?
He's smarter than any 10 men. He's fucking brilliant.
Oh, I was not complaining about his intelligence or his performance. I'm saying I'd get one term and I would say some stupid stuff. Well, it would be smart stuff, but it would be like, I can't believe he said that out loud. I can't believe he said that out loud. Kind of like our segments.
No. I'm sorry. Since he's here the whole way through, we're gonna break at 47. I do need to. Yeah, but I do need to
Christmas
squeeze
is
in a
early.
live read.
Christmas is early. It's a great song. Great video, too. Couldn't do this kind of video anymore. They put a bunch of women in cages. You can't do that anymore.
.637 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt rolling right along as well. Going to dive back into the conversation in just a second, but I do have to remind you about the folks over at BREC, BREC.org. BREC.org is your home base for our city, parishes, parks, and recreation department, and they've implemented something new that I'm absolutely loving. Okay, a lot of BREC properties out there, a lot of BREC facilities out there. How can you keep eyes and ears on everything? Well, you and I can actually help with that. They've put in a rapid response ticket system, and I've actually seen it work. When you see something broken in a park, something wrong in a park, something that you think needs to be fixed, burnt out light bulb, maybe a playground has a broken piece of equipment, anything like that, okay? Submit a text to 225-310 BREC, and boom, they've got it covered. They get the response ticket, and they respond very, very quickly. It's a program that Janet Simmons put in as interim director, and it's been awesome thus far. I know it's not our job to fix things, but we can help them out along the way so that they can be on top of their game. 225-310 BREC is the rapid response ticket text line. Learn more at BREC.org. All right, diving back in. Attorney Franz Borghardt in the house for Legally Served. Franz, you want to know from our Attorney General how many trials are being
No.
How many?
Can we agree that theft or loss of state property probably is rampant throughout the state?
I have a problem with jumping down the probably thing.
Okay.
Because we don't know. And as a criminal defense attorney, I would expect you to say you don't know either.
Let me rephrase. I've worked for the state. It's rampant.
Okay.
People take stuff. The state loses stuff. I would like to look at the audits. And then I would like to see how many state prosecutions or how many prosecutions of individuals she's instituted hopscotching law enforcement. So how many times she's done this vis-a-vis her office, because she's right. You don't just get to take stuff, right? He's no different than anybody else. Brian, this is a political prosecution.
So not knowing the ins and outs of all of it, I'll let you say that. I'm not saying that.
You don't have to say that.
But what I'm saying is, you bring up a good question with the how many prosecutions or how many investigations are we looking at like this?
In her office.
Within her office, because there's a comparison there. Okay, on the one side, when you talk about theft that's rampant within the state government, I would have to counter with how much of that theft reaches the level of $25,000.
Well, how do we know it's worth $25,000? Because we're calling it an artifact. It's Cyprus. Now, I will give you Cyprus, and the $25,000 is important because felony theft has to have a certain financial threshold. So another problem I have with this is We're just throwing out there. It's worth more than $25,000 because it's a artifact. Really?
I mean, everything is filed and logged as such, right? I mean, that's it. It once,
Show me the appraisal.
Okay.
Show me the insurance.
but then I would say turn around and say, then why did Clay want it on his wall?
Who knows why they do the things they do? Look, are you suggesting to me that the legislative office, the legislatures, the reps and senators in their offices don't have Louisiana stuff?
Absolutely, they do, but they are within state offices. Okay. They're within state offices.
If
Once
your
he's no
question
longer
is, why did he take it in the first place?
right,
Okay, well, that may not be a felony theft. That may
I don't
be
think it is.
an unauthorized use of a movable.
Right. The question then becomes: once he's no longer a state representative, once he was termed out, then where did it go? Does
Right.
it have to be like returned and cataloged and put back where it came
What did
from?
he do? Was there a
Well,
reason?
he handed up? Well, somebody else moved into his office.
Well, that's the question I have is, was there a significant reason why that piece was in his office? Was it somehow connected to his district?
Does he have to have a reason?
Yes. Well, to some degree, if this thing is sitting in a closet at the legislature and nobody was loving it and caring about it,
Right.
you do agree with me that kind of changes the conversation a little bit, right?
It changes the conversation greatly.
Right.
And if he has some personal connection to either the piece or the quote that's within
Right.
the piece,
Right.
or I don't even think that when it comes to a legislator decorating their office, do you even need a reason? Taste is subjective.
Nothing in the office is, other than the stuff that's his that he brings in, all that stuff belongs to the state. Let's say he took it from the legislature, put it in his office with no intent to steal or deprive anybody or to take that thing of value. And when he's done with office, he's like, guys, I'm leaving it here. You guys, best of luck, new rep. I don't even know who replaced him. Best of luck. I didn't even know who my own representative was. So
It was Paula Davis.
Yeah, Paula. Shout out to my girl, Paula. He left it in his office and said, here, it's for the, and that's why I want to know, is it connected to his district in any way? Is there some kind of correlation where I want this in my office because it's somehow whatever's my district?
Yeah.
Or, hey, this is a cool piece of furniture that was in the closet somewhere. You know, I just, is this the hill you die on as a prosecutor?
And that's where the next question comes up is you asked the question of how many of these investigations, how many of these prosecutions we have. And I don't know that I hear about them. Now, that's not to say they don't exist, but I don't know that I hear about them. And I can't help but find a parallel here towards our current president got 34 indictments and 34 convictions on something that nobody else has ever chased down for.
I feel the same way about that.
Okay.
No overarching fan of President Trump.
Right.
However, I'll tell you the same thing I said about his prosecution is this is a political prosecution. When you start trying to fit square pegs in a round hole to go after people, so then the question becomes, well, the timing of this. Like, why now? It doesn't pass the smell test.
So
and look, if you think this is just Franz ranking on another Republican AG, I actually very much respect and think she's a rock star as an AG.
she actually is.
Right.
I
Which
mean,
is why
yeah.
I'm kind of like, really? Like, her office does some amazing prosecution across the board.
Oh, yeah. It's
Child
nonstop.
pornography, sex crimes, insurance fraud. This?
So Clay Schexnayder was succeeded by Jeff Wiley. Jeff Wiley was sworn in on January 8th of 2024.
What if Jeff Wiley was just like, not saying this is a hypo, this is a hypo. What if Jeff Wiley walks into the office and is like, man, I don't really like this?
And throw it out.
Has anybody checked Facebook Market?
So
seriously.
What? No, but the question is like, what happens if Jeff Wiley just threw it out? Like,
that happens.
Okay, but is that on Schexnayder for not like inventorying everything?
That's a different crime then. That's not theft.
Now we're getting somewhere. What does malfeasance mean?
As you know, I occasionally represent people accused of malfeasance of office. Not doing something you're supposed to do in office, which is illegal, or doing something while you're in office connected to your office that is illegal. That would have been sufficient. The malfeasance case sounds, by the way, malfeasance sounds kind of horrible.
Not doing something you should have done, like inventorying everything that belongs to the state on your way out the door.
But we don't see that. We don't see improper auditing. Think about that. We have a state
Would
audit.
improper auditing fall under malfeasance? I mean, that would you'd be
If you
double
want to
dipping
make
charges.
if you want to make it a crime, then theoretically, yes. We have an entire agency that does auditing.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen prosecutions by the Louisiana auditing, which they're their own branch of prosecution?
Yeah.
How many times do we see prosecutions for there being some numbers issues at the legislature?
A little more often than you'd think.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably more often than this kind of prosecution.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But
you generally
you have a problem with the malfeasance charge.
I have a problem with the fact that they
theft charge.
I have a problem that they stacked charges in an effort to make it higher publicity.
Okay, so I see my problem is on the theft charge because like if it's a theft charge, then raid his house. I mean, if it's a theft charge, go in his garage. Like what is like
now
you have to be able to turn this thing up. You remember how we've talked in the past about can you have a murder prosecution without a victim, without a body?
You don't
right?
need a corpus delicti.
Well, okay, so can you have a theft prosecution without a piece of?
Generally, it doesn't happen because possession is what? It's not law, but it's 9/10
of the law.
Real fast, James Pittman, viewer on Facebook, says, "What if he was asked to return it and force the AG's hand?" Well, that does change the conversation.
It does, but it also doesn't retract the fact that there are charges, which can play into it. We'll pick this up after the break, which is coming up now.
I bet Liz and I could have a radio show together. That would be hilarious. So we're clear. I really do respect her. This is not like my gratuitous comments about Governor Jeff Landry when he was Attorney General. I really do think she's doing a good job up to this point.
Start trying to share the Facebook post.
If you have tax problems, you have legal problems. David St. Romain. Troy. I miss you, Byron. Milk thistle. Scott McKnight's on.
Oh, I was talking about Scott yesterday.
I love me some Scott McKnight.
Because the empty suit was in the house. Yeah. Bro, I think I'm still more butthurt about that race than Scott is. Scott packed up and moved on with his life, and I'm like,
What's he doing? What's Scott doing these days?
I don't know. What are you doing these days, Scott?
Scott, we're overdue for some lunch. Shout out to Keith.
Morning, Keith.
Keith strikes me as a guy I could smoke a cigar with.
Kevin, I don't know where the thing is. And I've had multiple off the record conversations about this topic.
This is so frat, though.
This is why I don't want to do it. All I can do is get myself in trouble by pissing off the wrong
lean
people.
Into it.
No.
It's worked out great for me.
No, it's like I tell the sports guys when they shit on the governor. Y'all get to shit on him and leave. I have to swim in this pool.
Dookie.
I know.
Oh, there'll be no
It's
money.
not as cut and dry as one issue. You have to take into account all the issues. Or at least I do. That's my job.
There'll be no money. But when you die
on your deathbed, you'll receive total enlightenment.
So I got that going for me.
Oh, big changes coming in the new year. Let's go. Name the date, name the place. I'm there.
Umami. He likes sushi.
Yeah.
He likes sushi? He likes
Yeah,
sushi?
I like sushi. I'm not in that.
Like,
I'm not.
Brian like Thai.
I'm not in that umami bag though. That's that criminal defense
You
money.
probably get a
That's
free
them-
lunch. You
that's
probably
them-
get a free lunch out
Well,
of it.
that's them walked on rape charges lunch right there.
That malfeasance representation.
Yeah. That's theft of 25 grand or more.
Do you take Cypress artifacts as payment?
No, just bone marrow.
If I know that the artifact is stolen, I can't take it as a payment.
You can't. It's ugly too.
I
It's not like a
really
big
want to
piece-
see a picture of
it's
it. I
painted-
have no context.
It's painted over. It's not like
Any chance he didn't realize what this thing was? No.
it's a
He
decent chance. You could-
It's so frat.
It is. I legitimately think that like Jeff Wiley has this thing in a broom closet.
He's laughing, like
And-
giggling.
There's a picture of this thing somewhere. Week after Thanksgiving. Let's get.
Whatever.
Oh wait, hang on. That's it in the background. Look at this thing. It looks like the rules and regulations for the swimming pool at Jellystone Park. It's not pretty.
You think he like threw it away because he was like, we need some new wall decor?
Maybe, but it looks like only you can prevent forest fires. It's not pretty.
Who's losing sleep over this? Whoever donated it? The family where the tree came from?
Maybe. But it's like the wording describes the tree that it was cut down from.
Kind of makes it less sexy.
A lot.
Unless you resurface it and make it into a dining room table.
But
I would like
it
to-
looks painted over.
It's pretty.
It's not
pretty
pretty.
ugly.
It's
It's
very
pretty
ugly.
ugly.
It's not. I mean, when they say artifact, it's so ambiguous.
Look,
It's this giant plaque, and it's written on it. The writing on it describes the tree that it was cut from.
sometimes theft has nothing to do with the quality of the thing being stolen.
I understand that, and it's somehow worth $25,000. I don't understand that at all.
Ain't no way.
You're looking at it right now.
So
Franz.
here's the deal, guys.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, 653 Talk 107.3 FM WVRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along, legally served, continuing
True.
right now.
True law fact here.
Yeah.
Let's talk law for a second.
We're talking about this piece of cypress that's missing
If you're
from
going to
Clay
charge
Scheckler's office.
someone with theft,
Yeah.
the item has a certain value.
Right.
And the law prescribes certain levels of value as certain thresholds.
Right.
There's a reason we're saying it's worth 25 or more than 25 or at least 25.
I don't know. I mean,
There ain't no way that thing's worth $25,000.
Look, I understand that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but this thing
Come
looks
on, Liz.
this thing looks like the rules and regulations for the swimming pool at Jellystone Park.
So then the next question becomes for the viewers or listeners, well, if it's not a crime, how in the world would a grand jury indict for this? You literally can indict a ham sandwich.
People say that, but
Why
I don't
ham
think you-
sandwich?
I don't think you can.
Cucumber sandwich.
Can you indict an inanimate object?
They look at you.
Uh-huh.
Let me drop the veil here. As someone who's taken cases to the grand jury when he was a prosecutor, you present something. There's nobody watching what you present other than the grand jurors. So there's nobody babysitting you.
Yeah.
And you can present as strong or as weak of a case as you want.
Mhm.
And at the end of it, they kind of look at you and they're like, what do you think? And you kind of tell them, I think this is this crime.
Okay.
Or I really think you should indict him for felony theft and malfeasance.
All right. We have one other topic to get to this morning.
Sure,
I do want to go to the
let's
fourth.
pivot.
Well, and here's the thing. We don't know enough yet, and everything is speculation. And we're talking about two people that I respect very, very much. Like Liz Merle is amazing as an AG. And I've known former representatives, former speaker Scheckler. I've known Clay a while now. And he's always been an above board, no pun intended, good dude.
I will close on this note, and it applies to either of them or both, or maybe one. You can respect someone who makes occasional bad decisions. I'm walking living proof of that. You can make a bad decision and still be respected.
But that leaves the implication that one of these people
does this guy need to be a convicted felon? No.
No, but that leaves the implication that he made a decision, which means he's guilty.
If I saw that thing on the wall no disrespect to whoever this thing is important to besides AG Liz, whoever this is, I mean, no disrespect. If I saw that on the wall, I'd be like, can we put it in the closet?
Probably where it was.
All right. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about now?
All right. The vote was 427-1 to release the Epstein files.
Love it.
And you made some comments earlier in the show, something to the effect of about information coming out without arrests, without an investigation, or without an actual,
My concern about the Epstein file information. Again, I will say for the second time in the same day, I ain't exactly a champion of Donald Trump, President Trump.
Right.
I will not be voting for him in his third term election. That said,
God, he's not running for a third term.
That said, what are we doing? Like, are you going to prosecute him, or are you just trying to bury him and burn him?
Hold on. Why is Donald Trump's name even coming up here?
I know.
We're talking about the Epstein files. We're talking about 50,000 pages worth of information that's already out there, and a whole lot more to come. We're talking about lists.
We're now voting to release new information, right?
Right, which is going to contain names of very high up, very important people that are likely pedophiles.
Is everybody that went to the island or went and hung out with him a pedophile, or should we more accurately say people that participated are pedophiles? Because there is a big issue. Look, in this instance, I haven't been paid to defend a pedophile.
Right.
I will say this, though. Just because it's kind of like the Diddy parties.
That's where I was going.
Just because you're at the party doesn't mean you're at the party.
No, you can go to a Diddy party and leave before midnight. But
There
at a certain point,
there's a sea of lube between being at the party and participating. That's right.
Once you've hopped on a plane to go to the island, I think you've crossed that threshold. You've crossed the threshold to
the argument becomes
at the very
you knew.
least. At the very least, you were witness to somebody else doing it.
I mean, I'm quite sure there was that occasional celebrity or individual that was like, "Whoa, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah,
I'm out."
Probably, but it's an island. How do you get out? It's Little St. James. That's the name of the island, by the way.
Little St. James.
Little St. James is the actual name of the
Quite
island.
a pilgrimage there.
But it's an island. Once you're there, you're
entitled. Are we entitled to? So my issue is, man, oh man, do you start really messing up criminal prosecutions when you start? Hold on. When you start releasing stuff before the criminal prosecutions under the air of, I'm entitled to know this. Why are you and I entitled to know anything like that? What does this have to do? What does our lives have to do with that list?
You want a ring of pedophiles running the nation?
I didn't say that. And again, just because you're on the list, I want more information.
But there's no way to get from point A to point B without saying you're trying to hide.
I walked right into that.
There's no way to get from point A to point B without saying you're trying to hide pedophiles and protect them.
The issue, the similar issue in this one to the issue with the first topic we had was, this is no longer about protecting people. It is really just about political warfare.
I disagree with that entirely. This is a ring of evil that has gone on for 30 plus years, and it needs. I mean,
30 plus
years needs to be exposed.
We've had how many convictions as a result of this?
None, because it's all been protected and hidden. Well,
one.
What's
her name?
Ghislaine.
One.
Yeah, but
and to be fair, Epstein killed himself.
Air quotes. Yes, I understand that, but that alone should lead you on the path to wanting to see this list, to wanting to have.
Nobody on that list has been prosecuted. Nobody who's been exposed has been prosecuted.
As long as they're protected, they won't be. He's Franz Borghardt. This is legally served.
Bye, guys.
ABC News coming your way.
Was Weinstein on the list?
Do what?
Was Weinstein on the list?
Doesn't have to be. He had his own.
No, but I would retract what I said about the number of prosecutions. And
if a whole bunch of people come out and say Harvey Weinstein raped me, well, he hasn't been charged yet. Later, Franz. Thank you, brother. because this is the most passive aggressive way of telling me I'm too white. It's so I can be properly lit for Facebook.
You're white too, though.
Yeah, but like,
But he's not on camera.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes you look more white. Like now you're like ghost looking.
It shows up better on social media when they repurpose the video. So,
Go get you a spray tan, man.
I need, yeah.
Just for the.
Yeah, just for the show. I know.
I mean,
get you a spray tan.
We need to bring back Jersey Shore because I do the gym and the laundry, but I don't do the tan.
Right.
Hit that GTL, baby.
I was going to say, hey, I'm actually probably. Are y'all doing a show Thanksgiving?
No.
I don't know. I'm just.
Oh,
no.
My heart dropped. I'm like, are we? Like,
you sure as hell aren't.
I was like,
I'm coming
like, no.
retrain with you Tuesday. I may come Wednesday then.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I know you're bored. I know all that. It's every time I
It's
turn
the
around,
time
you're
and-
changing out the live stream.
Yeah.
I know, and so
But yeah.
when I had to fill in for you, I actually didn't start it because I didn't know how. And Brian's like, I gotta move into, but I need to like relearn.
Yeah, for sure.
What did I do? I don't know how to run that thing.
You hit a few buttons, and then Taylor had to come down and start it for us.
Yeah,
Remember when
because I don't know how to run it.
Yeah, I don't know. Either.
I'm useless.
Oh man, what?
You're
No.
not useless.
No, y'all don't understand. Having come up as a producer and then moving to host and
It's
see all the
all-
technology change, and I'm like kicked out of the trainings and whatnot.
Yeah.
As much as
that really set you back.
Yeah.
I got y'all. I know. Cool deal.
I think I figured out why the table's broken.
Why?
Maybe the last guest moves around and pushes it a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. It wobbles.
I had the other song. Let's see you wobble wobble. Let's see you shake, shake. Yeah, there you go. Oh man.
Kevin says, I'm assuming that they must have some pretty concrete evidence on him stealing it if they are pressing charges. I don't know that. As far as I know, it's just missing. And also, as far as I know, no, can't get into my off the record conversations because Facebook is still a matter of record. Kill the mics. So this is a very thin line between prosecution and persecution.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
How's the fog? Not nearly as bad as yesterday. All right.
Yes, it was rough. Yeah, I don't know how this thing gets out of whack. Kay told me like it happens every now and then, but I don't know why it would do that. Where I have to literally go in and configure.
What do you do to start the show that you don't know until you're starting the show? Is it something on a
Doing the
hotkey?
bumper. Yeah,
All right, then
I'm gonna start.
make that the very first thing you do when you get here,
Yeah,
because it's not on the air, it's not live,
right,
it's not gonna air. So the test run.
for sure.
.705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. A less foggy morning than the last 2 days, to be sure. Still a little bit of fog out there as you're making your drive in. Brian here with you, JP producing, coming to you live from the 180 Pros studio. Is it time for your IT to hit a 180? Visit 180pros.com. We're starting you off at 61 degrees for the second hour of our show. We've got State Representative Dixon McMakin on deck. He's going to be up in our next segment. Got a lot of ground to cover with Dixon, but one of the things that I want to do is, I know he's a state rep, but we can talk about local issues. I want to look back on Thrive. What could have been done a little bit differently here? To me, there was nothing more clear of a yes vote than to take a bunch of piles of money with reserves on hand, move a little bit over to a different part of the budget, and say, let's pay down debt so that the city parish can get moving in the right direction without having to lay off a whole bunch of people. That felt like a no-brainer to me. But there's another side of this that maybe I'm not understanding. So what could have been done differently with Thrive? A little post-mortem coming up in our next segment. Also this hour, Kiffin Watch is underway. Matt Moscona from After Further Review. Actually, you know what? I can tell you about his radio show all day long. But all the information you need on Kiffin Watch is available at louisianasports.net. They have been doing phenomenal coverage of this. From the firing of Brian Kelly through all the turmoil, through interim coach to where we are right now. Louisianasports.net has been your home. All right, top stories and trending. Let's go.
Number 5.
Shout out to the Human Jukebox. Southern University's marching band was named a finalist for the ESPN HBCU Band of the Year. 2 Division I schools are in the running here. That would be the Human Jukebox and Florida A&M's Marching 100. There are also 2 Division II bands, Miles College's Purple Marching Machine and the Fayetteville State University's Marching Bronco Express. That's Express spelled without an E on the front end. Just a big letter X, Press.
Number 4.
City of Central's taking on a major neighborhood road overhaul, launching an 11.7-mile rehabilitation project that includes new pavement, updated speed limits, and redesigned street signs. Amir Wade Evans said the goal is to shift away from the previous approach of fixing 1 or 2 streets at a time and instead complete entire neighborhoods in a single coordinated effort. As of this week, the city has milled about half of the project, including work in the Tanglewood area.
Number 3.
An East Baton Rouge Parish School System employee was arrested on child sex charges on Tuesday. Michael J. Dozat, 63 years old, was booked for computer-aided solicitation of a minor and indecent behavior with juveniles. Louisiana State Police confirmed the arrest, saying they conducted an undercover online operation, and Dozat arrived at a predetermined location to engage in sexual activity and basically got caught Dateline style.
Number 2.
State Representative Chad Brown's becoming the commissioner of the Louisiana Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control. Brown, a Democrat who represented Plaquemine, is expected to resign from his seat to take the position. The Louisiana House website currently lists his seat as, quote, vacant. By the way, this might not be the last shakeup you hear with different positions in state government this week.
Number 1.
The mayor's office making a statement. If there's going to be cuts, top brass is not immune. Charlie Davis, Chief Efficiency Officer in the Mayor's Office, Bill Sherman, Communications Director, Fallon Brown, Press Secretary, and Sidney Raby, Operations Director for the City Parish's Satellite Office in North Baton Rouge, were all laid off on Monday. Cuts to other city parish divisions are expected after the first of the year.
Well, the vote to release the Epstein files cleared the House floor yesterday at 427 to 1.
And who was the one there, JP?
Well, it was none other than Mr. Clay Higgins.
Representative Clay Higgins
That's right.
from Louisiana's 3rd Congressional District.
Yeah.
Agreeing with Franz Borghardt on this one.
Oh, man.
Oh, this is one of those ones where, okay, either 427 are going to be wrong or the one's going to be wrong. Like when you're judged by history. Yeah. This is where he wants to go.
Oof. All right. Well, in other news, parts of the internet appear to have stopped working yesterday amid a technical problem at Cloudflare.
So there was a slew of websites yesterday we just couldn't get to.
Yes.
And it said internal server error. And we were over here hustling, thinking, do we need to make a phone call? I mean, where are we going with it? But it wasn't our problem. It was their problem.
That's right.
So that's
affecting 22%.
22%.
22% of the internet.
Tomorrow morning, 6:35, we will have Haggai Davison for a cup of tech gumbo.
Yeah.
A lot more on this there.
Looking forward to it. Well, according to a new poll, 40% of respondents say they are banning political talk at the Thanksgiving table this year. 30% aren't allowing talk about money, and half the millennials say they're sitting at the kids' table so they won't have to answer why they're not married.
So 40% say they don't want political talk. I don't know how you stop that. How do you
Right.
stop the political talk at the
No.
Thanksgiving table? You don't. It's impossible.
No.
Right? And the 30% that don't want to talk money, really, they're talking politics too. Because
sure.
right now, you can't talk money without talking politics. If you're talking about inflation that's still spilled over, that hasn't completely dropped off the map yet, if you're talking about like COVID leftovers, you've got that part of the economy. If you're talking about higher prices because of tariffs, that's a political conversation as well. It's those two things are completely intertwined. So if put those 30% into the 40% as well. Just they're answering yes to both questions now.
It's inescapable. So just kind of lean into it and just
Mhm.
try to have just, a civilized conversation. Is that possible?
By the way, if you have ever, I'm going to give everybody homework real quick, okay? Go look up Derek Stroop smoking. Okay.
Okay.
He's a stand-up comedian. He's performed in Baton Rouge before. He opened for John Christ last year at the River Center. He's awesome. Clean, no dirty words in this or anything, but he has a great bit about how smoking has saved Thanksgiving. He wants to bring smoking back. He's smoking has saved Thanksgiving before. Because you have that family fight about to happen.
That's right.
Well, then if one relative goes out on the front porch to have a smoke,
There you go.
that fight isn't happening anymore. It's
Right.
the things have been diffused by a Marlboro, right? But without that cigarette, everybody's still going at it in the living room.
That's right.
You don't need that.
Come to blows.
You want Aunt Cheryl to take it down a notch.
Right.
I don't care what she saw on Fox News last night.
Oh, man.
712 Talk,
Keep it
107.3 FM WBRP. Hey, speaking of Thanksgiving, not too late to get your catering orders in. Matherns can help you out with that. Check out matherns.com. Look, if you're talking something as simple as the mac and cheese, maybe the green beans, maybe the turkey, maybe the whole spread, they've got you covered. No reason to overwork it. Sorry. Matherns has got you covered, and if you order through the Matherns app, you can earn cash towards more groceries every time you shop. They've got you covered in Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth, Nicholson Drive, the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, which is directly across the street from Tiger Stadium, and then, of course, downtown on 3rd Street. They've got you covered. It's Matherns. Derek Stroop. I got it on my phone. Oh my word! Let me put the name in the comments here so everybody knows who to look for. So, how do you want to approach this? Okay. All right. Hey, make sure the mics are on. 716 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Was he on for that? Why was he not on
But
the air for that?
He caught the last little bit. That was good.
Thank you very much, everybody.
State Representative Dixon McMakin in the house, serenading us during break. If you're on Facebook, nice little peek behind the curtain right there. When did you pick that up?
Hey, my mom was from Memphis, man. I'm a huge Elvis fan. You can look that up. I promise you'll find some LSU Elvis stuff about me. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm here for it. You know who's a big Elvis fan? Jake Hester.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Like almost a sickness. I'm a big Elvis fan as well, but like not to that level.
Yeah, we've had 47 presidents this country, one king. Long live the king, Elvis
That's right.
Presley.
That's right. That's why I can't attend the No Kings rally. That's because I'm an Elvis fan. State Representative Dixon McMakin's in the house. We got a lot of ground to cover this morning, and we've only got 14 minutes to do it. I want to start not on a state level, but on a local level, because you are representative of District 68, right here, right in the thick of Baton Rouge, in the heart of Baton Rouge. And we had an issue on the ballot on Saturday, 3 propositions on the ballot on Saturday that came up short. And this affects your home. This affects your constituents. This affects all of us, right? Let me start with this question, and then we'll move from there. What would you have done differently about Thrive?
Yeah, I think you had Mason Batts on yesterday. I listened to that great interview about him. I think one of the things is the messaging of it. We saw with the state legislature, we had a tax proposal on the ballot as well that failed statewide. So we kind of Central's had one fail, Zachary, the DA's had one fail. So everyone has gone through this season of failing when it comes to getting propositions across. So get to look back now on all those and see, okay, what was the problems? And then I think about which ones have passed in recent years as well. Okay, I always think about the Move BR project and the traffic one.
Mm-hmm.
You knew when that one passed, you knew exactly what you were going to be getting, right? You knew these roads were going to be fixed because of this amount. You knew it was exactly that. Okay. And even when you just talked about, we knew some of the funds were going to be paying off debt, but then other money was going to go to the general fund.
Right.
We didn't quite know what that was going to be. So the people had a question. So really, unfortunately, it now comes to the idea of this. We have to get and make sure every question is answered to where we can leave no doubt. Remember the Titans, leave no doubt.
Is it possible to have every question answered, or will there always be more questions?
I think you have to break them out. Just like our tax proposal for the state was very much, this part was dependent on this part, was dependent on this part. I think you have to now realize, as much as you're trying to coalesce and get all the groups together to say yes, sometimes that can go against you because you have to have so many pieces move in a proper direction. So I think now, as a state rep, as our local leaders look at as well, keeping them separated. You don't want to do it that way, but unfortunately, I think you have to now think about it. That's the way it's going to have to go forward, or they're not going to pass.
Okay, so if that's the case, then they're just not going to pass. No matter how many questions you answer, I can find more questions if I have a want to say no going in.
Yeah, but I think, so you look at now, okay, the library, right? They're going to need their millages coming up, okay, in the springtime. Well, if it's only the library on the ballot, they've been successful getting that millage passed how many times in a row?
Well, yeah, but now it's failed this time, and then the next time it comes up, what numbers are going to come up?
But it failed as part of a package.
No, I understand that. Well, there's 3 propositions on the ballot. You could vote individually on those.
But it was talked about as one measure.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It was talked about as one. It wasn't just the library didn't just come out and say, vote yes to ours.
Right.
They were all being asked to come out and say, vote yes to all 3.
Okay.
So when you have the package mentality, I think that's what has hurt the state, has hurt the city now. And we have to look at it going forward. As much as you want to do that because you see the benefits of taking some of the reserves, some other ones, and helping other parts.
Yeah.
I think the people have said now, hey, we don't want that anymore. We're paying for a Ritz-Carlton service, but getting DMV level service when we actually go out there. I think the people are a little tired of that.
By the way, I will exempt a couple of departments within the city parish from that DMV level service because I think we get great service from a number of departments. Shout out Fred Rayford. I always will take his. I will have his back till the day I die. That man does awesome work, and he's overworked and understaffed, and he's always going to be even more understaffed.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about if you break them down individually. Let's put the library back up for their millage. Where do you put it at? Do you put it at the 11.1 they were asking for, or the 8.3 it was supposed to roll down to had Thrive not been a part of this?
Well, I think that's something they're going to have to consider now. Of course, they have this large reserve. And so are you going to try to go and get another millage that you've had to build up another reserve? Are the people going to want that now knowing, right, you don't have any millage, but you're able to survive? So what are the people going to want? Interesting. I know a couple reps are working on some bills for those millage laws and how they work in the state government right now, because once you get a millage, even if you want to go down, you can never go back up. So these millages cannot be fluid as well along the process.
Right.
So this is their chance to evaluate and say, hey, look, we were at this.
Mhm.
We're now going to this because we're not going to need as large a reserve in the future. I don't know.
And that's going to be an even bigger issue for the Council on Aging and mosquito abatement, because they've already voluntarily said we can live without X amount of dollars because we can help out the city because the city parish is struggling.
Anything they came out and said on these initiatives, they have to go back and make sure every quote, every post they made, that they're not contradicting themselves when they come back to the people, because the citizens of Baton Rouge, obviously the people of Louisiana voted as well, we're tired of being told one thing and then you come back and do it again.
No, I understand that. But there's also, and this is a big part of it to me, Dixon, is that we went and voted for Sid Edwards last year. And the first time he comes out with a really big plan to do something, we tell him no. And there's a great quote, and I use it way too often. It's by Bill Parcells. If you want me to cook, you got to let me shop for the groceries. Well, we elected him to cook, and we're not letting him shop for the groceries. What's the point of putting the man in office if we're just going to get in his way when he wants to do his job?
Yeah, and you had all 5 mayors, all council members,
all 12. How do you get all 12 council members
on anything? On anything.
You make Daryl go first. That's how you.
Yeah,
so he can't disagree later.
And so that, looking back on it as a political dork that I am, getting to watch all these things and see all that, it's like, man, this should be 60-40.
Yeah.
If you think about it, this should be 60-40. But I think the part that us as politicians got to remember is what are the sentiments of the people that actually have to go vote.
Right.
And the low voter turnout, how you pick dates, where you put it. Obviously, Southern game, LSU game on those dates affects it. All those little things now, you really have to be so tactical in how you do these things. You can't just throw it out there.
We talk about the low turnout. We did have 19%. I know 19% is not great, but we've seen things pass on much less before.
It goes in cycles.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not as low. I mean, 1 in 5 is not great at all, but we've seen less before. So we're not as pathetic as we could have been.
And you should want people to go out to vote.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
When you run for office, you always hope that people are voting for you, not against somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. Edwin Edwards, David Duke, probably the most famous one of that. Vote for the crook. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
Is you want people to go out and vote for something. Mm-hmm. And did the people really have the passion to want to go vote for something that has to do with taxes? Right. That's already a negative connotation. Taxes. We did it in the state level, local level too. It's not the most fun thing to go vote for. Now, I would say when the library millage comes back up, surprisingly, libraries get people a little excited. Right. There's something there that's tangible. You see it. You know where it is. Intangible taxes is tough.
So interestingly enough, though, if you break down district by district, precinct by precinct, the people that voted this down largely dependent on libraries a lot more than the people who voted for it.
Yeah,
which is amazing to me. That's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
It's bonkers, really, is what it is. And so, how the people then have to go back, look at that, figure out why. I mean, go back out. It doesn't hurt to go back out and talk about it, right? Go back out, have some town halls, go back out there to the people. Hey, what can we do better? And really find that out. Give a chance to be better now the next time, which for any of those sports quotes or whatever it is, you run the quick dive. The quick dive doesn't work. Okay, let's spread the field and let's run something different.
Yes.
And this is now a chance for us to go out there and be better.
Speaking of which, that one drive in the third, I think it was in the third quarter, where we had like 4 different people through passes.
It was awesome.
It was so great.
It was. We were
so
in the booth.
Fun.
That might be the most fun I've watched football in a long time. Just backyard football.
Yeah,
we're gonna run the end around this way to that side. It was awesome.
Yeah. Go down to the Buick and cut right. It was awesome. I want that one drive per game. Anyway, let's get back on track here. We're talking with State Representative Dixon McMakin, doing the post-mortem on Thrive. What could have gone differently? You talk about how every penny has to be accounted for. This is the problem that I ran into. And this is another quote that I use all the time. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yep.
This was very, very good, but it wasn't perfect. Through what you're describing, you're making it sound like if you want to get anything passed, it has to be perfect.
I mean, we saw that with our statewide tax initiative.
Is perfection attainable?
We had one part of our tax initiative that talked about nonprofits, right? And the churches were part of that. We had no plans to do anything, but to move other nonprofits around, you have to lump them all together because they are all nonprofits. Mm-hmm. And we saw that the churches came out pretty hard against our tax initiative. So is perfect attainable? I don't hate the word perfect, But
if that's the standard of the voter,
you have to be able to take out any doubt. I said it, remember the Titans, leave no doubt.
Yeah.
You have to be able to say, what is that one thing someone's going to come out and just be able to kill this on that one issue that the people connect with?
is that a known unknown? Like, I don't know how to predict what's going to come out of left field.
Yeah, I think so. When you do these initiatives and you do them, maybe in the state we didn't do a very good job of this either. Obviously we had a special session. We went through it. We did everything. Even in that special session, these items were never brought up.
Right.
It was never brought up, these objections that we got once we got to the ballot.
Right.
And so maybe in the way when you do it or set it up, instead of going through your normal process, you can always not pre-file a bill. You can always write a bill before, send it out to everybody, say, hey, this is what we're thinking. Here's the numbers. Here's the charts. With Thrive, I saw not a great post, but a post going around of how exactly is this going to work? It was a flow chart. I think, you might have seen it where all the lines went different directions and you're like, where's this money going? Where's that money going? And really making it short and sweet. In the investment world, there's a famous book that everything should be on an index card.
Yeah.
And that's almost how we have to do this now, where it needs to be on an index card.
When you talk about taxes, I feel like, and maybe I'm in the wrong on this one, but do we have a lack of understanding the difference between local government, state government, federal government?
Oh, 100%. I got an email yesterday that asked me to vote yes on the Epstein files.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That was for Congress, by the
Okay,
way.
yeah.
I'm not in Congress. Don't go to D.C. except for Mardi Gras. And but people emailed me that thinking that I was going to take a vote on that.
Yeah.
So we see that a lot. One thing I know, under this administration and Senator Franklin Foyle, Senator Rick Edmonds, we're going to be doing another one of our legislative body Metro Council meetings coming up, which we've not done in the past. And so I think that's something as well, that as much as this was a local initiative with Thrive, ours was a state initiative in the springtime. Neither group did a good job of relaying that information to other parties. And that's something we've got to work on.
All right. One more part of Thrive that I knew would be a problem from the start. And I don't know that it said it was a problem, but there are so many different divisions of government within Baton Rouge that are controlled by different purse strings from different places. When you had Library, Council on Aging, and Mosquito Abatement, it's like, why those three? Well, because EBR, that falls within the city parish, right? Those are taxing entities within the city parish. Then the question becomes, why not Katz? Why not Breck? Well, you got to turn to the state coffers for that. And then you've got this parish versus city. We until we're deconsolidated, that will never be completely settled as well. How much can be done in the state government to make sure Baton Rouge is Baton Rouge and purse strings come where purse strings come?
Yeah, look, great question. I had 2 bills last year to try to get Katz and Breck out of state government. And it's amazing the pushback I got from that. Exactly to your point is, why should you have to wait for something from the state legislature when it's truly a local issue? They wanted to put in statutes. I wrote the bills to do that. I think you'll see, we'll get back here in the springtime with some bills that I'll be doing for those entities as well. But one thing I did, you obviously saw the Breck legislation that made it through with Rep. Ventrella's bill was, hey, let's put the leaders of the locals on those groups now. Yeah. Let's give accountability and transparency to those groups. I think with any group if I can't get it repealed, I'm going to do something to have it done that way. Other cities don't do that. I think mainly because we are the capital city, the Capitol building, is just right down the road. But it's unfortunate that it is kind of confusing of, hey, why can't they just go do this with this money or that money? They don't have access to it.
Right. And that's another part of crossing that threshold of understanding all the way down to the voter, to where this is where the perfect becomes the enemy of the good again, because you're not going to have perfection if you don't have everybody rowing in the same direction. If I could use another.
Yeah. We all got to row the boat the same way, Boys in the Boat, great movie, great book. I actually read that book. Great one. But that's part of this now. I think we have to shoot for perfection. It may not be attainable. We have to be as close as we can. And then the messaging, I loved yesterday when you're talking to Mason, and several people on Facebook brought this up, was, where's Thrive listed in the resolutions? It's not even listed there. So you had something, I make bills with names. There'll be a bill hopefully coming this year called the Light Act. We'll get to that more. I had the Bandit bill last year. I have all these different ones because it's built into the bill of what we're trying to accomplish. So when you have a word that's not part of it, even that was confusing to people. And so just those little things now, we're all learning. I'm in my 24th month, 2 years. The mayor and his team are right on 1 year. And so all of us combined now are learning from these times. How can we go back and be better?
We got 1 minute left with State Representative Dixon McMakin. what do you see as the future of I mean, like individually, these three propositions? I mean, the mosquito abatement and council on aging, they've got a year.
Yep.
They've got buffer time. But when it comes down to the library, give me the crystal ball of what you see happening there.
Yeah, I think it'll be an individual millage that you'll see on the ballot. I don't think that they should go for as high of a one as they had because of the reserves, unless they have something they're trying to save up for and build. That's always been the library's thing. We save, then we build.
Right.
Well, but what are you saving for? What else is there to build at this point? I'm not quite sure. I don't think they'll go as high. I think they'll come back down after the reserves are depleted a little bit.
Always appreciate your time, man.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Yep, absolutely. 7:31 at Talk 107.3 FM. Believe it or not, we're going to keep this Catholic High train running. Matt Moscona's coming up next.
Catholic
Oh, my God. I had Franz on last hour. I got you on now. I got Matt up next.
I want to fight all you Bruins.
I need my blue and gold.
On the field.
Here's news.
The Bruin cohorts are cheering. For the Bears will never yield. Hey, this day we're all out for victory, no matter the cost. Cause we'll fight forever till the last white line is crossed. Go Bears!
My text is blowing up, and I didn't look at any of them. So
that sounded nasal.
No, I don't think it's about that. By the way, that went exactly how I was hoping it would go. You did. That was very nice. Okay. A couple of those texts were from Ryan Haney.
Yeah. See?
All right.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Go to your Google and just type in
From the Advocate?
Just type in LSU Elvis Dixon.
Okay. I mean, he sent me the whole story.
Oh, yeah.
That's so good. Who's Catholic got this week?
I don't know. I'm not calling the game. I have that men's basketball. You know, the new gig
That's right.
gets me first. I've missed 3 games this year. In the previous 10 years, I mean, I've missed
None? 2? Oh, okay. Wow. I mean,
so the light act is what I'm working on right now. If I can get that across.
Kill. 736 Talk 1073 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to pivot over, talk a little football, and Kiffin Watch is underway.
Where's the lane train headed? Hoo, hoo. This is Kiffin Watch 2025.
Joining us now with the latest on the lane train, we've got AFR's Matt Moscona. Matt, how are you, brother?
Man, you really missed an opportunity to bring in Brian Fantana from Panda Watch
Oh!
and Anchorman.
Good call.
And you could do like we did years ago with the media guide thing, and just whenever you get the clip from Panda Watch and just put Kiffin over it. Kiffin Watch. Radio used to be fun, Brain.
I know.
I'm making radio fun again.
And that's why I put that
Print the
together. That was a last minute thing. Called up Neil, said, "Can you get this done?" He got it done. He's awesome. So
love it.
All right. First of all, before we get to anything else, host of AFR, but if I'm turning anywhere for Kiffin Watch 2025, it's LouisianaSports.net. Y'all have been doing phenomenal work over there from the beginning, but from the firing through today, up front with things that are factual. Things that are accurate and really ahead of the curve. So kudos on the website.
Thank you. It's all free too. So no paywalls, no subscriptions. If you're not familiar, you should bookmark LouisianaSports.net. We broke the Brian Kelly firing news. We broke the news of Layla Kiffin being in Baton Rouge on Monday. So you don't have to worry about article limits or paywalls. So just free. Go read it. LouisianaSports.net.
All right, let's get into it. Give me everything that has transpired to now, and how close is this to happening?
Well, by the way, I have Drew in the car, so if you hear it, you'll hear him in the back.
Yeah,
sorry,
awesome.
But I know most people don't care. People are generally kind and generous. But anyway, the interest with LSU and Lane Kiffin is obviously very real and very sincere. So too is that with Florida. Florida had a head start. I think Lane Kiffin was certainly more than likely going to end up as the Florida head coach. But a few monkey wrenches got thrown into this whole thing. Number one is that LSU fired Brian Kelly, and then LSU jumped into the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes. And the other is that Ole Miss kept winning. I don't think even in Lane Kiffin's wildest dreams that this team, which is dramatically less talented than the one he had a year ago, would be sitting here at 10-1, having already punched their spot in the playoff. I think if you inject him with truth serum and ask him, he would probably look back and say, thought they'd be 8-3. And he could say, I've done all I could do here. And I need to go somewhere where I can have resources to win. But now it looks like he's going to leave Ole Miss for a place that he beat this year, beat both teams, and on the verge of a playoff. So that's the decision he's going to have to make. He'll become the highest paid coach in college football, whether he stays at LSU or takes either the LSU or Florida job. Excuse me. But he's just got to decide. I think the really tough thing for him right now is just the calendar. He wants to coach his team in the playoff, but he wants to take one of these jobs. And he's not going to be able to have his cake and eat it too. So I think that's the thing that he's wrestling with. But the report of that ultimatum, which Lane debunked, I don't know that this lasts to next Friday, Brain, because remember, this isn't just about LSU and Florida needing to hire their coach. If Lane leaves Ole Miss, then they need to get into the coaching sweepstakes as well. And so they need to know if they're looking for a coach. And Ole Miss isn't going to let this continue to drag, because we've already seen James Franklin take the Penn State job or the Virginia Tech job. What if John Sumrall, who apparently is the target at Auburn, what if that's someone Ole Miss would be interested in? Well, they need to have an answer from Lane Kiffin. So I don't think this is going to drag until next Friday. I think it's really possible we have some resolution, or at least Ole Miss internally knows what Lane Kiffin is going to do before the Egg Bowl prep starts next week.
Well, let's start with why leave Ole Miss, or let's move on to why leave Ole Miss. Is there, if there's a belief that he can't win a national championship there, why is that? Why does that belief exist? I mean, we're talking about an SEC team. We're talking about a team that's been around, a program that's been around forever. Why would there be a belief that they can't get it done?
Well, they haven't done it in 60 years. Mm-hmm. And, you could argue, well, they're going to make the playoff this year. And that's true. But making the playoff doesn't mean you're going to win a national championship. especially in a 12-team playoff era where more teams have access, which I love, by the way. I hope they go to 16 and one day 32, but different conversation, different day.
Yeah.
So, and not only can you get in but win when you get there, but will you also consistently have the resources at that program? See, it's one thing for Ole Miss to pop a big portal class like they did a year ago. It's another to be able to continue to go to the well with those boosters and benefactors every single year, to continue putting out that product. And I think that's what Lane covets, and that's really difficult because you just don't have those resources at Ole Miss. I mean, that for context, Ole Miss is celebrating Saturday where they had 68,000 people at their game against Florida. It was the largest crowd in the history of Ole Miss football. On the same day, 5-4 LSU was playing 2-7 Arkansas at 11:45 in the morning and had more people in their stadium than the greatest crowd ever at Ole Miss. That's not shade at Ole Miss. That's just reality of the difference in resources between the two programs, which is why he would leave.
Okay, so when Ole Miss can put together $20 million for last year's roster, what you're saying is that they can't do that consistently. They just have to, push all the chips in for one hand every once in a while.
I believe so, yes. And then also you just consider the talent in the state. I mean, Mississippi has talent, but there's 2 SEC schools in that state. You get a lot of players out of the Pine Belt that commit to LSU. They get cherry-picked by their neighbors. In Louisiana, LSU's the only Power 5 in a talent-rich state. I mean, Lamar Brown is the number 1 player in the country. He is literally on LSU's campus. Richard Anderson is the top defensive tackle in the country. He's at Edna Carr in New Orleans. I mean, you can go on down the list. It's just Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, all of those guys were within 45 minutes of LSU's campus. I mean, it's just we all know it, and it's not pandering. It's true. There's a reason why LSU is desirable, and it's all of those things.
Talk with Matt Moscona, host of After Further Review, about Kiffin Watch 2025. All right, let's pivot over to the potential of him being the highest paid coach, the battle between LSU and Florida right now. Should Lane Kiffin leave, what's this going to look like as far as a bidding war is concerned?
Well, I think he'll be the highest paid coach in the country no matter where he lands. Kirby makes $13.3. The report is that Ole Miss has an offer on the table for $13.5, and I'm sure they'd go up if they needed to. Early in this process, I was told LSU would maybe be in a position to offer something like 6 years, $14 million per, which would be an $84 million contract. I was told over the weekend they would go to 15 or north of 16 if they had to. So I guess all that to say, Lane Kiffin's going to be the highest paid coach in the country, and I don't think money is going to be a reason a school is eliminated. Ole Miss, Florida, or LSU, they'll all match and they'll all be competitive financially. He's going to make this, so wherever he goes, the money will make sense. He's going to make a decision based on other factors.
Do we know what other factors are important to him?
Being able to win championships is certainly a big factor. Where is he going to have the resources not only to win a championship, but potentially championships? Right. And then I think there also has to be family considerations. So one of the things I know that Florida fans feel good about is the fact that Lane's ex-wife, Layla, who they divorced in 2016, but they've reconciled. She moved to Oxford with their son, Knox. As I understand it, they're not together, but they've reconciled and they're raising their family. But Layla was, she attended the University of Florida. Her dad, John Reeves, was a quarterback at the University of Florida. So there's some belief that may be a pull. I was told during her visit here Monday that maybe it was made clear that's not as big a deal as some might think it is. It doesn't sound like they still have a lot of family in the Gainesville area, and that tie there may not be quite as strong.
Okay.
So, I think it's really, look, their son Knox is a high school football player, and they're going to have a situation where he will walk into a good situation. He's a recruitable athlete. He'd have to walk into a good situation. That's something that I think they could work out either in Gainesville or in Baton Rouge. But I do think there are some family considerations there as well. Where do they want to live?
Right.
Which was why Layla visiting Baton Rouge on Monday was such a big deal.
We got Matt Moscona on with us for a couple more minutes talking about the potential of bringing Lane Kiffin into Baton Rouge to coach LSU. Matt, there's got to be a part of the conversation that says Lane hasn't won anything yet. Is that factored into this discussion at all?
I mean, I've heard that. I think, listen, if your standard is, okay, you have to go get a coach that's won championships, well, that means you're limited to Ryan Day, Dabo, and Kirby.
Right.
I mean, nobody wants Dabo, and Ryan Day and Kirby aren't realistic. So then you move on to what's next. I look at Lane Kiffin, like, they win the Egg Bowl. They will have won 50 games over the last 5 years. The only programs in the SEC to win more are Georgia and Alabama. Not LSU, not Florida, not Texas, not Texas A&M, Ole Miss.
Right.
So the fact that he's done it at Ole Miss in this era where this has been the most transformative 4-year period in the history of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only did we see the advent of NIL, but the evolution of NIL. I mean, out the chute, NIL wasn't pay for play, but then it became pay for play with collectives. And then we've seen this transition through the portal era and also now revenue share. And through all of that, Lane Kiffin has continued to evolve and thrive in this era. So, look, LSU did the thing where they hired the winningest coach, the winningest active coach in football.
Right.
And he wasn't able to survive in this and thrive in this era. So you find a coach that has proven they can do it in this era. And I think that's where LSU is trying to sort of mitigate their risk.
Is there any possibility that, would there be more of a want to pay a coach less and put that money into the roster instead?
I'm sorry, say that again, Brain.
Is there a hunger for an appetite for paying a coach less and putting that money in the roster instead?
So it's an interesting question, but remember, now that there's the revenue share era, there is no such thing anymore as a collective paying the roster through NIL. Every NIL deal now has to be true NIL that is reviewed by a third-party clearinghouse, Deloitte, that has to determine true market value. So you can't just say, hey, safety from Texas, here's $1 million, and by the way, your deliverable is you have to take a picture that we put on the website. Like the clearinghouse would have to look at that market value and say, is this fair market value for that deliverable? And so you can't just pay players anymore through your collective. So that doesn't exist anymore. There has to be resources where you have companies, businesses that are willing to do true NIL deals on top of revenue share dollars, but how you manage your quote unquote cap, right? The $20.5 million of which about 14, 15 million is going to go to football at places like LSU. How you divvy up that money is how your roster is built, not so much like it was where you raise $20 million for your collective and buy a roster.
Last one before we get you out of here, and thank you so much for hopping on board this morning. The last one is your gut take. Where does he land?
I think as of this moment, and Lane Kiffin could wake up tomorrow and just say, forget it, I'm staying at Ole Miss. I think actions speak louder than words. I think the fact that he's had this contract extension on the table, hasn't signed it, and the fact that his family is touring Gainesville and Baton Rouge tells you he wants to leave Ole Miss and take one of these jobs. And I think LSU has pushed ahead of Florida. I think professional confidants like Nick Saban and Jimmy Sexton are advising him to take LSU over Florida. And ultimately, I think that's where this lands. I think Lane Kiffin's going to be LSU's coach.
Weight that for me, percentage-wise. About 60, 65? Where are we at?
51.
3 to 6 on 104.5 ESPN. You'll find AFR, but LouisianaSports.net is where you're going to find all the latest on the Kiffin Watch 2025. Always appreciate the time, brother. Thank you so much.
Okay, Brian, you're fired.
Yeah. We take a quick break. We're coming back next. Oh, my God. There is a missed era of Baton Rouge sports talk radio that never happened because you had 3 dudes just hanging out in the bullpen at Clear Channel when me, Moscona, and Josh Ennis were all producers for other people.
Yeah.
came up with some of the greatest shit ever. Every time and I don't know who it gets the proper attribution. I don't know if it was Matt, Josh, or me who came up with Bryant Dennehy Stadium, Alabama Stadium, Bryant Denny Stadium.
Yeah.
I don't remember which of the three of us came up with it, but I honestly think it was Josh. I don't know, but it was one of those ones where we're all just riffing on shit left and right and just having a good time. And it like, you know how TMZ used to do that show where they're all just hanging out in the bullpen talking shit. It was that kind of format. It would have been the greatest podcast ever, but it was before podcast time. Yeah, you know,
kicked off.
Just the three of us dicking around. That's what we'd have called it.
Yeah,
dicking around.
Oh my goodness.
Facebook. Let me hop back in on Facebook Live. Did y'all like the open for that? Oh. Galen, Gary Chambers support was not possible, and there's a good reason why. And once I have enough built up in the argument, I'll be able to share it. $7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. JP, you still got the intro handy for the Kiffin Watch? I want to hear it. I want to hear it again. I want to hear it again.
All right,
so good.
Let's go.
Where's the lane train headed? Hoo, hoo.
I hear the train a-comin'. It's rolling around the bend.
This is Kiffin Watch 2025.
I love it. I love it. I know it was very short order, and Matt was spot on with the Panda Watch. We could have added Panda Watch in there.
Yeah.
So as news breaks moving forward, we will of course have Kiffin Watch at the ready throughout. Now, where are we at right here? Oh, we got to talk healthcare. We'll talk healthcare in just a quick second. Let me remind you about the folks over at Neurojust. Neurojust.com is the website. You'll find them in real life over on Bluebonnet. What happens over at Neurojust? Well, they can treat you for anxiety and depression, and they specialize in a therapy called transcranial magnetic stimulation. This sends magnetic pulses to the brain that target the areas that affect mood. Now, if you have thus far been treatment resistant in your anxiety and depression, what does treatment resistant mean? Well, it means to sit down, talk it out, therapy isn't really taken. Or it means you don't like the way the prescription drugs make you feel. The antidepressants, either having side effects or diminishing returns, whatever the case might be. If you just don't like the way you feel, give NeuroJust a look. NEUROJUST. This is FDA approved, non-invasive, no side effects whatsoever. It's a therapy that is sweeping the nation. We're actually lucky to have it here in Baton Rouge. Most of the time, you'll find it in the larger markets, but they're handling it over at NeuroJust, neurojust.com. Rave reviews for those that have done it, and they've got receipts, y'all. I want to say it's 70 to 80% show response, 60 to 70% full remission. Learn more at neurojust.com. We had Senator Bill Cassidy on the show last week talking about what's on the table when it comes to health care, and our news partners over at Louisiana Radio Network caught up with him as well. I wanted to follow up on that conversation as Congress is, negotiating another CR to take us past January 30th. Health care is on the table. Speaker Mike Johnson said, let's reopen government and then we'll talk health care. Okay, well, the government's reopened. It's time to talk health care. So there's the discussion needs to be had. Is it going to be one side is all Obamacare or bust? Or is there going to be an open back and forth discussion between the two sides? And Senator Cassidy, he's got some good ideas that he shared with us last week and shared with our news partners. You heard it in news this morning. Cassidy says, rather than pushing the Affordable Care Act, which is anything but, he wants to give the subsidy directly to the American people. He says money currently going to the insurance company straight from the government. So a significant portion of that never makes it to patient care.
This coming year, $26 billion of taxpayer money to insurance companies, who then take 20% of it for profit and overhead.
$26 billion. That's a pretty significant number. I'd like my percentage of that back. Now, under Cassidy's plan, people would be in full control of their health care dollars.
Instead, we give it to an account controlled by the family, typically by the mom, by the wife, who will do things that are right for her pocketbook and right for her family's health.
Now, the way Senator Cassidy explains it, his plan essentially redirects taxpayer money from those who don't need it to those who do need it.
If you send $10 billion, just to pick a number, to the insurance companies, they take 20% of it for overhead and profit. If you send the money directly to the patient, 100% goes to the patient, and they can spend it on the health care they need.
What I like about this is it puts the patient back in control, at least to an extent. I mean, there's going to be regulations within the insurance industry overall, but it puts the patient back in control. If I can control where my dollars are going or the dollars intended for me are going, that's the competition that the market is lacking. We're going to stop seeing the downsizing or squeezing down of insurance companies to broaden the marketplace back out. More competition leads to lower rate, right? That would be the hope. Hour 3 is next. I'll be right back. Bum, 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 bum. 806. Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Starting you off at 63 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge for the third hour of the show. Brian here with you, JP producing, coming to you live from the 180 Pros studio. 180 Pros. Does your IT need a 180? Don't get yourself a IT service provider. Get an IT service partner. 180pros.com. 330-2200 is the phone number. Yeah, it's a 225 area code. Why? Because they're local. As your partner, they're going to be here. Their success is based off of your success. Whether you're talking about cybersecurity, IT systems build-outs, systems maintenance, they've got you covered. Simplified billing makes it easy for you on the back end. Same-day response is on the table here. Gotta love it. 180pros.com. We're going to get you to this day in history coming up in just a quick minute. But before that, though, I do want to address, let's go back to last hour, okay? 7:15 to 7:30, we had State Representative Dixon McMakin on, doing a little post-mortem on Thrive. Thrive falling at the polls, failing at the polls on Saturday, right? And we're kind of unpacking it, saying what could be done differently. And this overwhelming distrust of government bubbles to the top, no matter how you break down the conversation. And Representative McMakin was saying, basically, you have to have every penny accounted for if you're going to move some dollars around within government. If you want to ask the taxpayers to move some dollars around, account for every penny. A lot of it was going to pay down debt. Other stuff was going to the general fund. And by the way, the overwhelming majority of the dollars that were in Thrive, Props 1, 2, and 3, were staying right the hell where they were. The overwhelming majority of the dollars were to make sure the Council on Aging, mosquito abatement, and the libraries continued to be funded. So right off the bat, you're talking 80% of the money staying where it's at. So we're already looking at 20% is the only thing that's in question. And of that 20%, a good 80% of that was going to pay down debt. I'm rounding off. So you got to know for every penny before people will have trust and say yes. And at that point, it's not even trust anymore. It's just a full-on fiscal accounting. Former State Senator Rick Ward posts up on Twitter in response to the segment, says, listen to Brian and Dixon McMakin talk about the failure of local and statewide propositions falling at the polls. Until candidates stop running on, quote, you can't trust anyone who is elected, we shouldn't be surprised when they don't. We tell them every election not to. Boy, how on point is former Senator Ward on that one? This is the system we've built, y'all. We have built a system of distrust to where no matter who gets your vote, what they try to do is going to be shot down. Is that a cycle that can be broken? Like, I know the holidays are coming up, but I feel like this is going to be homework over here. We're going to have some bigger conversations on that front, to be sure. Is this a cycle that can be broken? It's so easy just to say everyone's a liar and a crook, but it feels so much worse and so much more toxic these days, and we're seeing the repercussions of it. All right. Every day, the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs bring you this day in history. In fact, let me tell you about 5 Star Printing and Signs right now. 5 Star Printing and Signs, printshop5.com is the website. You need your brand to be top of mind all the time. If you're out of sight, you're out of mind. Slap your logo on some merch, printshop5.com. Wrap your vehicle, printshop5.com. Anything that you have printed, whether it's your business card, your brochure, door hangers, signs on the wall, whatever it is, 271-4096 is the phone number. Danny and his team will take care of you. They'll collab with you. Make sure that what you have catches the eye. 271-4096. Of course, that's 225-271-4096 or printshop5.com for 5 Star Printing and Signs. All right, this day in history. Let's roll. All right, JP.
All right. Beginning in the year 1863, where U.S. President Abraham Lincoln delivers his Gettysburg Address.
Didn't he work on that on Monday?
He did.
All right, you got the final draft on Monday?
7 years ago.
Yep. A lot more than that, though.
That's right.
Yep.
Also, 1944, keeping it with presidents here, U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt announces the 6th War Loan Drive, aimed at selling $14 billion in war bonds to help pay for the war effort.
Okay.
Whew. Moving ahead all the way to 1990. Brian, today is the day Milli Vanilli are stripped of their Grammy Award.
What?
After it is learned they did not sing their award-winning Girl, You Know It's True album.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Which is available on Peacock right now.
Yeah, have you seen the documentary?
I haven't seen it.
Didn't we have
We
Fab?
did.
We had
You
Fab
had
on.
him, yeah.
Rob's dead. We had Fab on the show.
That's right. That's right. Let's see. Keeping it with music.
Why did we do that? That was so self-indulgent.
why not?
I know,
Right.
but
Why
like,
not?
You know why? Because it's important to Gen X.
Yes.
I remember how heartbroken and like the bottom fell out of my world.
Oh, man.
It's like nothing is real,
That's right. Thought AI was bad.
right?
Man. Keeping it with music, though, this musician, 2002, safety experts blasted Michael Jackson after dangling his baby from a third-floor hotel balcony.
Oh, I
Remember that?
Yeah.
Blanket, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Man. Today, also, the 2006, today, the Nintendo Wii was released.
Really?
Nintendo Wii.
All right.
And one more in the music world. 2019, The Weeknd releases his single Blinding Lights. Goes on to become the longest charting song on Billboard's Top 100 at 90 weeks.
Okay.
Wow. I think that had to do a lot with the pandemic, right? Going into 2020.
Okay. The pandemic,
Yeah.
TikTok,
Yes,
every
that's what I
family
mean.
could do a
Yeah.
dance to it.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of my regrets for during lockdown was not doing a dance to it. Been cool to look back on, right? Did you do the dance? Were you a part of it?
No. No.
Yeah. All good.
No, that would have been cringe, Dad.
Oh, come on.
So cringe, Dad.
My kids too. They were at the age where they wanted me to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no,
Well,
I don't
actually,
want to.
in hindsight, so my oldest daughter was of the age, but you can't embarrass Carrie.
Yeah.
Like, she's the one that, like, if I were to pull up in carpool blasting some 90s hip hop, she would probably
She'd be
start.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that your middle
That's the one at
kid?
Ole Miss. Southern Miss.
Oh,
She's
she's
at Southern Miss now.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the older one at Southern Miss. Sorry, I squeezed the two into one word, made it a different school. She's the older one at Southern Miss. Now, my middle child, Abby, she would be like, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
James would just go hide behind a tree. He's not here for it.
Oh man. Moving on to birthdays.
Sure.
James Garfield, former president,
All right.
along with Larry King today.
Okay.
Let's see who else I had. Oh, Jodie Foster as well today.
Yep.
And actor Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Meg Ryan also on that list.
Hey, how about that? All right, Meg. Got any more?
Calvin Klein today as well.
Yeah. Calvin Klein on there. Got any
Let's
more?
See. Jason Scott Lee, Bruce Lee's son.
Oh. All right, you had Adam Driver. You said that. You said Meg Ryan. Jodie Foster, you said. Got that in there as well. Jack Dorsey was born on this day in
okay.
1949. Rapper Tyga is 36 years old today. Allison Janney, CJ Craig from the West Wing.
Okay.
Ted Turner is 87 years old today. And keeping it local, bring it back home to New Orleans, actually. Warren Easton was born on this day in 1848.
Okay. 1848.
Well, I mean, guy's
Wow.
got a high school named after him.
Man, that's right.
You know?
Yeah, you're right. Moving on to deaths. I just have one here. Rosalind Carter.
Rosalind
Carter.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I said my daughter went to the wrong school. These things happen. I also going to add one more to that. Songwriter and entertainer Mel Tillis died on this day in 2017.
Okay.
That's the only other one I had.
Let's see. What
National Days.
I
Let's
want to
go.
try to give you a good one.
No, it's impossible. They all suck.
Oh,
They're
man.
terrible.
They
We don't-
are.
It's
International Men's Day.
yeah. Who cares?
Someone put National Have a Bad Day Day. Really?
Okay.
International Journalist Day. Can that maybe?
Ooh. Considering who's visiting the White House, we might want to skip that one too.
Ooh.
It's 8:14 at Talk 107.3 FM WBR. Too soon. Too soon. Quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk budget with Metro Councilman Aaron Moak next. All right. So you are the third council bite at the apple. We had Jen on last week. We had Lori on last week, and they both brought in that.
I'm the first one after the failure.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was pacing this out. So, is everyone calm back down and moving forward, or are we still in our?
Yeah, I was calm that night. Do I have to be here, or am I okay just talking? Last time you were like,
yeah.
I love me fly.
The
I didn't bring my glasses, so don't make me look at anything.
$8:17 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got Metro Councilman Aaron Moak in the house. We're going to talk a little budget. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Doing well. Good morning.
Good morning. Tough beat Saturday night.
Yep.
Thrive EBR falling short at the polls.
It sure was. And, you talked about it in the last segment, talking about, trust and trusting government and things like that. And one of the big questions that you had asked was, how do we get past this? How do we get, over this hump that everybody just distrusts government? I think to get over the hump of distrusting government is the elected officials themselves need to get over the distrust of each other and stop the arguing and the fighting from the top down. All that negativity and everything else that you see, that filters into the public. And when they see constant fighting back and forth between two sides or two elected officials on whatever, it's not debate anymore. It's argument back and forth. So the distrust just filters all the way down. And I've seen that coming for probably 10 or 15 years now.
Yeah.
It's just been slowly filtering down to the
Interestingly
public.
enough, though, I feel like in the Metro Council world, we've got one of the more functional Metro councils that I can remember.
You know, we say that all the time. You know, previous councils and administration and the arguments back and forth, and you hear about the things that went on in council meetings and everything. And look, we have our disagreements and stuff, but this council here has worked closely together to try and come up with a common goal. Yes, there does get to a point you got to make a vote whether it's yes or no.
Yeah.
But overall, when, you know, just in our first term, when we got employees coming to us and saying they're watching the council meetings and everything, and it's so much more appealing, or they feel more confident in a council like this working together.
Yeah. Well, I remember when, and I don't mean no disrespect to those who were in the past, but I remember when Joe Greco was the mayor pro tem, as the head of the council.
Right.
And I just, and I'm the nerd that would watch the meetings on Channel 21.
Yeah.
Right. And I would just watch. No man was in need of medicinal marijuana more than Joe Greco was. That man would sit. He looked like the grandfather at a dysfunctional Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, you know, I love Mr. Joe. We worked together on our chamber, our area business association. I knew him during the council days and everything. But actually, Joe was one of the reasons that I ran for office. His first run was in 2000 against Joe. And it was because of some of the comments that he had made in the council meetings. And one of the big ones was, you know, about what women need to do and so on. And it just set off a firestorm. Like I said, you know, we've talked about that and everything else, but those kind of things, I think, like I said, going into the beginning of the thing, it's a matter of, from the top down, working together to find the best common goal. Not everybody's going to win, but when you don't win, you pack it up, you move on to the next subject, you let that ordinance go through, you move to the next subject, and you start working on the next thing. And just like this, with Thrive failing, it's something that we've got to come back together now and decide where we're going with this budget, because now it's in our hand.
Yeah, it is. And the budget was put in your hands. Actually, before Thrive happened, it was put in your hands under the assumption that Thrive was going to come up short. I mean, that's the responsibility.
Correct. The budget was put together. They couldn't do two books and have things on the line out there. So they had to do it without Thrive passing.
Yeah.
And that's what you see in this budget right here.
So the paper alone, it's
I don't know where the internet camera is, but
yeah,
you can see
the camera's
this,
over
you know,
there.
it's
The
like,
camera's back in the dark, but
this is your budget
that's
right
a
here.
good, what, 400 pages?
Oh,
Thereabouts?
I think it's got to be more than that. What does that say down there?
Holy crap. 520.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm sure a few of those are table of contents, but word,
I can tell you where every
pages.
Dot is. I can tell you where every T has been crossed, you know, because, you know, we read every single line in this budget.
So let's dig in on this. Now that Thrive is in the rearview mirror, let's dig in a little bit on what we're looking at, what we're faced with, where cuts are going to be coming.
So obviously, you've seen in the news, the first cut was out of the mayor's office.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was 4 positions.
Yeah.
So now all your notices are being sent out. Everybody's looking at where they're at. I feel confident that we're going to first look at what's left of the frozen positions, what's left of the positions that are not filled, that hadn't been filled in X amount of time, and we start there. But we did a lot of that with the last budget. Yeah. So there's not much of that left, and it's going to have to go down to personnel.
Right. Which we're looking at about 230 overall. I guess we could say 226 now.
Correct.
The mayor.
Correct. Just like the mayor said before Thrive, you know, 400 positions. But again, a lot of those are frozen or not filled positions. So yeah, you're looking around 200, give or take.
Mm-hmm. Do we know where that's going to come from yet? Because I mean, it's not coming from police or fire, right?
Correct. Not coming from police or fire. It's going to come from early retirement. It's going to come from every department across the board. Parish attorney's office, finance, DPW, all of it.
Okay, let's start in. Are any of those areas fat right now? Or any of those areas where and I don't want to talk about individual people, but just when you look at the number of positions they have, are we fat anywhere where we can lose some folks?
Well, it depends. You know, like how many of these offices have, you know, 3 or 4 administrative assistants?
Okay.
How many of these places have duties or positions that are kind of overlapping? We're not talking about 100% overlapping or 80%, but do they overlap by 50 or 60%? Somewhere in there that somebody might could take on this role, and maybe the one with they're overlapping, somebody has seniority enough that they're close to retirement. Maybe they can take early retirement.
And then squeeze the 2 posts down to 1 on the back end.
Correct. Does it put more on the person that's left in the position? It sure does. But that's where we're at right now.
We got Metro Councilman Aaron Moak with us talking about the 2026 city parish proposed budget. Within the Metro Council, how much purview do y'all have to make changes to this thing before it moves forward?
I mean, we have all the purview that we need. The problem is
how much appetite do you have?
Right. The problem is it takes 8 votes to be able to amend the budget. Yeah. So to get to that point of 8 votes, again, we go back to that's where it takes working together to be on the same page to be able to do that. Now, has that happened often? No, it hadn't. I think the last time it happened was the last administration did it to Kip Holden. Is the last time that the budget was actually amended by an 8-count vote.
Okay. And yeah, I can see where that would be pretty impossible. And at the same time, though, all 12 Metro Council members were on board with Thrive.
Correct. Yeah. 11.
I don't know who.
All 12 voted, but there was one that
understood. 11% to 12% cut for just about everybody across the board. Who's that going to hurt the most?
It's going to hurt DPW, services, maintenance, things like that. Any little bit of cut, losing an employee in that situation, even with St. George being pulled out, and everybody says, "Oh, we don't need as many people because St. George pulled out." All of those people didn't go to work in St. George every day.
Right.
So, if they had a job to do over there, then they came across from Zachary all the way to St. George. They did their job or whatever. So there's not that many that you can say, oh, well, all these people worked in St. George, we can let them go. It doesn't work like that. And so when you start cutting maintenance and you're already down pretty thin, that's where the services are going to be hurt the most.
All right. Well, sticking with DPW, I don't know. I already know that that's the department that I will stand behind all day long because I'll stand behind Fred Rayford all day long, right? So,
Fred and Reginald and others. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Fred comes on the show, so
right?
He's the one that I get to see and talk to,
right?
But when you look at their department, they have so much work to do. I don't know how you cut when you've got that much. When you're talking about making sure we don't have a repeat of 2016 flood, when you look at the roads in Baton Rouge alone, I mean, those 2 things right there is enough to say, how can they work with fewer people?
Correct. I mean, look, a lot of people complain about the speed of Move BR,
right?
And why those projects aren't finished yet or not. Well, look, that was past second term of Mayor Broom.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was 4 years. You put all the plans out there and say, this is what we're going to do. Then you got to go through all the federal bureaucracy and everything. And what tree can you cut down? What limb can you move? So those projects are coming online. They're coming online right now. They're getting done. They're doing the best job they can. Keeping up with maintenance and everything they're just far behind. Sewer projects and things like that. You're absolutely right. So many things are already on the books that it's just going to push more further.
Parish Attorney's Office. What are we looking at over there? Because I know that's one that'll be called into question a good bit.
I think Parish Attorney's Office was up to 16, maybe more, maybe up to 20.
16 to 20 layoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a pretty significant number.
Correct. Yeah. And every single time, of course, anytime you're dealing with city parish, you don't know when the lawsuit's going to get thrown at you or what kind of communication that you need to stave off a lawsuit or something like that. So, yeah, every little bit's going to hurt through every single department.
Yeah.
Finance, you think, oh, well, how many people does it take to push a calculator and figure out numbers and all? It's not just that. I mean, they're figuring out contracts and the financing of contracts. They're figuring out all different departments. They're figuring, this 642 million page book every year.
Yeah.
That they're putting together and stuff. So, every little bit hurts them. And look, all of these departments are already down to the wire.
Right.
That's what hurts the most.
Well, and that's the part that I don't think a whole lot of people are talking about. We're talking about 11 to 12% cuts on the back end of, I believe it was 8 to 9% cuts last year.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So, we're cutting after cutting. It's when we think 11%, what we're really thinking is 20 over 2 years.
Well, that's been the whole point is overall everything needed to be down 20 to 24, 25%.
We got a minute left. Can you give me some good news about the budget?
Ooh. Well, the good news is we're going to do everything we can to save everything. And look, everything is on the table now. We've kind of had some discussion before about going back to the state.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start looking at everything. We have many more cases coming from the state. They send everything down to our DA's office, but yet they never up the compensation.
Right.
What it needs to be able to match that. Remember when you interviewed me at the beginning of the year, we had I was going to do the tax and the fee committee and everything, and I kind of held off on that. It's time to get that back into play with the fees and everything and look at all that. So, I think the good news is that we are going to work together. East Baton Rouge Parish, City of Baton Rouge is going to be here. We're going to work together and do as minimal as possible, but yet go after every other revenue source as possible.
And we're going to go over by a minute here, and unapologetically go over by a minute, but it's Metro Councilman Aaron Moak is our guest. I want to ask you about that potential, like a lot of this downsizing. There is some right sizing that's going along with the downsizing.
Correct.
There's a little bit of that's needed, absolutely. But opening up the possibility for other revenue streams without increasing the burden on my back as a taxpayer. What are we looking at on that front? Are we looking at possibilities right now, or is it beyond that point?
They're possibilities because everything as far as revenue streams that I'm thinking about, I brought up the fact of, what are we doing with casinos? What it is a lot of these fees and stuff that we've been getting for decades and years, they haven't been keeping up with inflation and everything else. So all of a sudden we're playing catch up. So we have to look at everything. What revenue do we get from the casinos in our area? What revenue do we get from the sin tax that goes to the state? All these different things that go to the state. Is it enough coming back to us now?
Right.
Fees that we haven't talked about or looked at increasing downtown or throughout the whole parish for permit fees and things like that. All of that has to be on the table now.
He is Metro Councilman Aaron Moak, which is the beginning of the conversation as the budget moves its way forward. 520 pages worth to unpack. There's going to be a lot more to cover. I appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here comes local news, traffic, weather. Let's talk carbon sequestration next.
Every one of them got to the end of the year. They should call for a special election for the whole Congress. You don't shut the go.
No, I'm with you.
You don't shut it down that
but
long.
The problem is, and this was Rick's point, was if you say throw the bums out, and we throw the bums out, well, all we're getting is new bums because we're not going to allow them to do what we threw the other guys out for not doing. That's the problem. I had the same problem with when I talked about with Dixon, what was going on a statewide level. We elected an overwhelming number of freshmen to our state legislature. And I used the same Bill Parcells quote there. If you want to let them cook, you got to let them shop for the groceries.
Right.
We put these people in place and then hamstring them so they can't do their jobs.
Because a lot of people go in and it's the rule. It's the rule of law from the top. And you go with it or you get pushed out. You get pushed to the side. And what you want to get accomplished for your area or district, whatever, you have much more trouble doing that.
Right.
So
but
that's where the big problem is.
Lower level of government you have, the more one-on-one relationship you can have to get it done.
I agree.
It's like I can call you, and I'm not the only one who can call you. Everybody, well, I'm in Cleve's district now, but everyone in your district can call you and have access to you.
Correct.
Which means it's more collaborative and less us versus them. y'all aren't on C-SPAN for me to give the finger to. That's the federal government.
Right.
There's a difference there.
Well, look, I'm going to tell you now, and one of the things you're probably going to hear about is our council budget.
Yeah.
Okay. So our council budget, we got that Entergy franchise fee, and each council member got $100,000.
Yep.
Well, that's showing up in the budget now, so it looks like an increase, even though it was last year.
Okay.
It just wasn't in that last year's budget because it was an amendment to the budget later on. You talk about local government. We as council members now, because we get the phone calls and everything, we can now do stuff in our district without having to go through this whole red tape stuff. If Brandon wants to get grass cut and contract is out there with city parish to cut grass, he can use his funding to go get grass cut in his area.
Yeah.
Now, same as city parish and everything else, our budgets need to be watched just as close as everybody's.
Of course.
So all of a sudden, we're not all ended up with four-wheel drive vehicles sitting in our parking lot.
Easy now.
Well, call it like it is. And
that goes along with how many Metro Council members have community centers in their district that the taxpayers on the hook for?
So believe it or not, and again, you go through the budget, most community centers break even, or make money.
Well,
and when I say make money, they take and they put it back into the community center, because you'll see sometimes throughout the year budget amendments where I think Councilman Kenny just did his. I think he transferred, because you have to do it by ordinance. He transferred about 75 to 100,000 back into his community center from the general fund, because all those fees get paid in the general fund. These communities, Miss Carolyn Coleman, you should see hers. She has a full-blown medical office in hers, a physical therapy place, a couple others, and a bill payment center and stuff. Those people are paying rent for those community centers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm looking to turn the old YMCA Pennington into a community center.
Wait, yeah.
And
bro, please.
YMCA said they would reopen a section of it. They would give me the administration area. I'm working with Breck, different things. I can have it fully leased and cover the cost before we even open.
That would be awesome. That was my why before it closed down.
And mine too.
Now I got to go to AC Lewis.
Mine too. And it's a beautiful facility.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's the largest facility out there.
Flood prone, though,
but
2016. But
the
basketball court is ass. Yeah. Oh, those baseball fields back there? Yeah.
There's room for a football field, 2 baseball fields, and a walking track all the way around it, and playground center in the middle. I've already had Breck look at it, and in fact, I'm meeting with Kelly today. Breck can take the old indoor pool area, build a pool in, put pickleball courts on the inside. They would maintain that and everything back. YMCA, the old gym and all.
Talk with the people who run swimming around the parish though first, because they use that one for like city meet and whatnot.
Right, they did meets with it.
Yeah,
but they still got the outdoor pool too.
Yeah.
Or we fill the outdoor pool, put tennis courts and pickleball courts, and leave the indoor pool so they can do competitions.
Yeah. Or kill off half the parking lot on the O'Neill side because it's never all the way full.
Well, we don't want to put that much money into ads, so we want to take and revitalize what's there.
Yeah.
At the best cost possible.
Okay. Let me hop in.
Sorry.
Well, that didn't stop at all. Metro Councilman Aaron Moak with a little bonus coverage during the break right there. We always appreciate his time. Thank you so much, man. Always. You do the same. All right, 8:38 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along, pivoting big time right now. You can have the Talk 107.3 mug, absolutely. I'm not expecting you to buy a mug with the city budget. I wouldn't expect you to buy it. You get that for free.
Well, look, I didn't even get Kramer in the coffee because we couldn't afford to have anything out here.
All right. Oh, so wrong. All right, we got. He's giving us hell about our coffee. That's fine. We're pivoting right now because it was middle of last week, I believe it was. It was announced that Texas now has primacy. Let's talk carbon capture. David Cresson with the Louisiana Chemical Association is on the hotline right now. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Brian. Sounds like I'm missing some fun in the there in the studio today.
And as much fun as we can have when the budget's cutting 11% out of everything. So yes, absolutely. If we don't laugh, we'll cry for sure. let's dive in here. It was announced last week that Texas now has primacy. Class 1 through 6 wells across the board, they get to do what they want. What does that mean for us in Louisiana?
It's a good question, Brian. I believe it means we've sort of lost our head start on this issue. This was something that Louisiana celebrated a couple of years ago when we were the first or one of the first states to get primacy on these wells, which means it allows us as a state to do the permitting and to allow for the the building of this technology in our state. We don't have to rely on the federal government as much because, frankly, the states do it better. We know more about our own state than the federal government does, and so we should be in charge of who gets to do this and who doesn't. And so Louisiana having primacy was a real advantage, and as a result, you saw literally billions of dollars of investment come into the state for companies that were interested in using this technology. Well, now other states are following suit, and as you said last week, Texas was granted primacy by the EPA and Administrator Zeldin and the Trump administration to certainly close the gap in the advantage that Louisiana had. It's unfortunate for the state, but hopefully we can survive this and continue forward with this technology. But Texas is catching us for sure.
Has the announcement in Texas changed the conversation when it comes to the moratorium?
Not that I'm aware, Brian. I have not been told that it has. The moratorium was, a surprise to many of us. The governor, has openly supported this technology around the state, but the slowdown in the permitting process through the moratorium does send, a mixed message to companies that are interested in this, in this technology. We've talked about this before on the show. Regardless of your opinion on, climate change and the role of carbon emissions in climate change, the fact is that markets around the world are requiring that the products they buy are made in a carbon neutral or a low carbon way.
Right.
And so companies want to build products and make products that are made in that fashion. And, the ability to do it in Louisiana through, carbon injection was an advantage for us, while we were the only state doing it. Well, now that Texas is doing it, and there's other states that are following suit, I promise you, it won't be long before you hear other announcements about primacy for other states. Well, now those companies are going to have other options. And so hopefully we haven't fumbled this ball. I don't think we have just yet. But again, these other states are coming.
Well, and the moratorium itself, it feels like a split the baby decision. I mean, if this were dangerous, why allow the existing permits to roll through? And if it's not dangerous, if it's safe enough to allow the existing permits to be executed, then why do we have to stop future permits? It's like, if the danger is there, don't we have to retrace our steps to the beginning?
Well, the way the governor said it is, we, with this advantage we had having our own primacy, we got so many permits so quick that we needed to take a step back and kind of consider the way that these were going to be approved and such. And to a degree that makes some sense. But I will tell you that there's boardrooms across the world that are, looking side-eyed at Louisiana right now going, wait, what's going on there? Isn't this an industrial state? Isn't this, a state that, this is part of our culture to lead through industry?
Right.
It's an interesting thing you say about, is it safe? Is it not? I was having a conversation with a scientist friend of mine yesterday. There are about 750,000 injection wells in the United States of America. And since the mid 70s and the creation of the Safe Drinking Water Act, there have been exactly 0 instances of drinking water contamination from those wells. You heard that right. 750,000 wells, 0 instances of drinking water contamination since the creation of the Safe Drinking Water Act. And so the hyperbole you hear about how it's going to poison our water, how this is toxic waste going into our water systems, it is either misinformation and a lack of information, or it's purposeful, purposeful lies. And we've got to be very cautious about what we listen to when it comes to this. I'm a conservation guy. I come from the conservation world, Brian. I would not want to do anything to our state that is going to allow for our natural resources to be damaged. I have seen these projects up close and personal.
Mhm.
I've visited them around the country. It's impressive how much safety and how well put together these are. People need to really do their homework on this, not listen to the hype, and get educated because there are groups out there who are raising money on the notion that they can stop this from happening in Louisiana, and that would be a shame.
Well, and how much of this is you talk about misinformation and intentional misinformation? How much of this could be subversive to recruit economic development to elsewhere?
All of it.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And by the way, it's not a mistake. This is their stated goal, is to try and stop this development in Louisiana. They don't want any industry here. And they are going to double down on it. And there's money coming in from New York and California, and I'm talking big money, millions and millions of dollars to try and spread this misinformation. And unfortunately, it's working. You go to social media, which is a terrible place to get your information from in some cases, but you see that this is being manipulated by on purpose, and we've got to make sure that the state of Louisiana doesn't fall behind because of this misinformation, while other states, including our very neighboring states,
right,
are going to embrace this and move forward. You look at the announcements from last week in Texas, all of the congressional delegates in that state are applauding this decision. The Trump administration is applauding it. Obviously, Administrator Zeldin, the governor in Texas is applauding this. All the rest of the senators and representatives from Texas know what a big deal this is. And meanwhile, here in Louisiana, we're in danger of falling behind. So we can't let that happen. We've got an opportunity here. We've not lost it yet, but we've got to make sure that we embrace this and move forward.
All right, when it comes to the science of it, David Cresson from Louisiana Chemical Association as our guest. When it comes to the science of it, I find it amazing that the people who, let's say you don't believe that climate change is real, okay?
Sure.
You don't believe that CO2 in the air has any effect at all. Well, if the CO2 isn't dangerous in the air, why would it be dangerous underground?
I say this all the time. When you go to your son's football game on a Friday night and they run through the paper sign and there's the smoke coming out and they run through it, that's carbon dioxide. And so we're not afraid to send our sons through it on a Friday night football game, but somehow we're afraid of it in this instance. Carbon dioxide is part of our everyday life. It's in our sodas and so on and so forth. And so, again, it's a lot of hype, a lot of hyperbole, a lot of misinformation. And the way that they're going to do this is extremely safe. Again, we've seen it up close and personal. The state of Louisiana is well positioned to manage this in an extremely safe and extremely responsible way. But unfortunately, we're allowing misinformation to get in the way, and we cannot allow that. In the past, Brian, Louisiana would tell these folks to get out of here with their BS. But unfortunately, now we're taking a pause to pay attention to what they're saying, and that's unfortunate for the state.
It's like we all need to go back and reread the book Chicken Little. This is where we're at right now.
Well, and let me take it a step further, because if they're successful in this, Brian, what's next? Are pipelines across our state going to be next on their hit list? The places in this state where industry is most prevalent are also the places with the highest wages, the highest number of the highest employment numbers, the best schools, the best infrastructure, the best health outcomes. Industry is part of our culture here in this state. And there are people here that want to see it run out of our day-to-day lives, and that would be devastating. And so it doesn't end with carbon. Once they're successful getting carbon put to the side, it'll be next. I heard an interesting phrase the other day, NIMBY, not in my backyard, which we've got a case of that here in the state of Louisiana. But the next one is banana. Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything. And that would somebody said that to me the other day, and there are groups out there that abide by that notion. We cannot allow it in the state because we're a state that relies so heavily on industry that's been so good to us for so many years. So let's stay on top of this, Brian. Appreciate your support.
Always.
I think we can win this, but we've got to make sure we're pulling the same direction.
Can you give us, we got 30 seconds left, quick timeline of, we still have a bit of a head start right now. How long before we lose it?
The clock is ticking. I don't have an exact timeline, but I imagine Texas will start seeing permits, hit the Railroad Commission's desk very soon. So we've got to get moving on this, or unfortunately, I think we're gonna fall behind. So Let's get moving.
He's David Cresson with LCA. Always appreciate your time, man. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian. Good to talk to you.
You too. Here's your money now. Yeah, the more I learn about carbon sequestration, the more frustrating the topic is. There's a story up at WBRZ right now about a council member in Livingston Parish wanting to do a NIMBY, a NIMBY block in Livingston, a resolution to prevent carbon capture from happening within the parish. He wants to protect the West Indian manatee in Lake Maurepas. Yeah. It's so the Lake Maurepas, and I'll say it again. Lake Maurepas is 10 feet deep. Carbon goes 2 miles under the ground. 2 miles is what's the word? More.
Yeah. I think
there's more.
So much misinformation.
It's it's 10 feet, which is the height of a basketball goal. And then there's 2 miles. That's more. What stops it from coming back up? Geology. Pressure.
Yeah.
It's when you're underground, and our particular geology is very conducive to carbon capture. When you're 2 miles under the ground, you have pressure that pushes down on things. Like if you and a bunch of your rich friends wanted to go see the Titanic and you went down in a Dr. Pepper can, you would be crushed to death because of pressure. It's the same shit here. Who in the hell wants this? Joe says. Texas does. Texas does. Hyundai does. Hyundai's one of the permits that is still approved. Oh, hang on, Andy. Oh. Well, Andy, I hope you're still watching, man. I am so sorry. I did not mean any disrespect at all. Well, Matt, like he said, there's 750,000. Oh, as they don't, I don't know that they actually fill though, because over time the carbon does like it settles. $8:56 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We have somewhere to be in the segment, but I feel awful now, and I want to go back and address something. When we had Metro Councilman Aaron Moak in, I was having some fun about previous Metro Councils being dysfunctional, and man, Andy Greco says on Facebook Live, which by the way, we're live on Facebook every single day, and we take your comments, we encourage your comments, and that live feed is brought to you by the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. Andy says, shame on you for your comment about Joe Greco. That was my late father. Thank you, Councilman Moak, for defending him. Good mind to call your producer. Well, Andy, I kind of wish you would, man, so I could talk to you personally. I sincerely apologize. I meant no disrespect to Joe Greco. In fact, my comment was about my heart went out to him when I would watch him. And I know if you're in a hole, put down the shovel. I'm gonna keep the shovel with me. Okay. My heart went out to him every time I would watch a Metro Council meeting. My comment was not about your late father. My comment was about the madhouse that he had to corral. I always looked at him like the grandfather sitting at a dysfunctional Thanksgiving table. The dysfunctional Thanksgiving table was the rest of that council. Joe Greco just had to like be the lion tamer in that room. And that was a compliment to your late father. I do sincerely apologize if it came across as anything but respect. That was not my intent. And I'm sorry if it sounded that way to you, man. That was not where I was going with that. And if I missed the mark that bad, that's on me, dude. I apologize. Been a busy show. I feel weird. Like I can't do a promo right here. I don't know where to go after that. I can't do a promo right here or anything. It just that this is where we're at. A lot of comments on Facebook Live coming in from one or two people about the carbon capture topic. The more I learn about it, the more I study, the more I read, the more I realize that those who are opposed choose not to listen. They choose not to listen. Joe says, who in the hell wants this? Texas is the answer to that question. Texas is the very simple answer to that question. And every company from around the world that wants to build in your backyard is going to go to their backyard as a result of it. So when you look at your neighbor's house up for sale or the house that's around the corner that can't get sold because you don't have the jobs here, this is why. This is why. We find a way to stand in our own way. When it comes to carbon capture, I'm looking to Texas to become, we're going to see Baytown 2.0. Where we say no, they'll say yes, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. They'll take the jobs. They'll take the economic prosperity. They'll take the development. They'll take the better lives, better schools, better communities for their kids. That's who wants it. Joe also says no government has the right to come take someone's land for this crap. There is no place where anyone's taking the land, and you're just believing bunk at that point. We're done for today. Moon Griffon's up next. We will see you tomorrow. I've got a meeting to get to about a potential sponsor. So I'm going to blast out. I have sent Andy a personal message as well. I really do feel like shit for that. And that's not the first time I've done that bit. I've referenced that for many, many years when Joe Greco was the mayor pro tem. He had to sit at that table And it was like if you took all the Batman villains at once and put them at a table, and then told the mayor pro tem, told Joe Greco, go manage that shit. Like, it's not a knock on Joe at all. All right. I realized, like, I'm not going to make it better. That's fine. I wanted the opportunity to. He's a good man. And if I missed the mark that bad, I don't know if I missed the mark or if you weren't hearing me right. If you weren't hearing me right, then I wasn't communicating well, and it's my job to communicate. So, one more time, I apologize. That's gonna stick with me today. All right, Haggai's in tomorrow. Crime Stoppers tomorrow. I don't know what else is tomorrow. I know I've got some stuff lined up. It's just I'm in my head now. We'll see you then.